Good start. Hello.
Hello there.
Great start there.
That was good.
I was like thinking about what to play. I was like, should I start with this? Probably not for that exact reason, but hey, that's why we do this on Gear and Beer. How's it going, everybody?
You got it figured out.
Got it marginally figured out. How's it going? What's up, Scott? What is up, Dave? What is up, Will? What is up, Brent? All the good friends. Going to be a great night. It is going to be a great night because we're feeling good. It is Wednesday. Cheers,
Feeling
Dan.
good. Having fun.
Yeah, good to have you back. Cheers, man.
Thanks, buddy. It's good to be back.
Yeah. Mike, what's up? Everyone's here. Dan's back. It's great. I love having you on these. It's always great when you can come.
Thanks,
I know you're
buddy.
extremely busy. So thanks
Sometimes.
for making the time to come by.
Yeah, I thought I'd come and say hello. It's been a little while.
Come
so
hang out. Come
yeah,
check out some stuff at the shop. Come to the
Yep.
stream.
That's right.
Yeah,
Totally.
how's everybody doing? What are you guys drinking today? I got some treats for later. Right now I have the Keiths. What do you got going there?
I got the Kilter.
the
Vintage Brown.
Vintage Brown.
It's good stuff.
I haven't tried
it.
their like darker beers. Mostly just the fruity beers.
Oh, okay. Yeah, this is
they make
pretty good.
they make like a really good like kind of fruitier IPA. Like the juicy IPA is really nice. But
Oh, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I'm more of a Vintage Brown kind of guy anyway, so
nice.
this is doing it.
There you go.
Doing it well.
Coffee. Yeah, is that to watch the game, Scott? Is there a game tonight?
Yeah, and it might be delayed. I heard Florida won't get there till like 8 p.m. local time,
Oh, really?
something like that.
Because of like a flight delay or something?
I think it was weather. I don't know. Brad was telling me
Oh
about
man,
it.
if they beat the Oilers after that, come on.
It's over.
No. I don't know. I'm kind of torn on this one. Who are you rooting for? Scott, obviously, I know you're rooting for the Oilers. Is anyone watching the Stanley Cup Finals? No. I was watching it when we were in Nashville because Travis is an adamant Oilers fan. He was disappointed when we were there, but
Oh, yeah.
have you been paying attention? Oh yeah.
No, I haven't,
lost.
actually.
First
Yeah.
game they outshot Florida, like almost 2-1 and lost the game because Florida's goalie's sick, and Florida also just had good opportunities, but
Bobrovsky.
Bobrovsky is very sick.
Yeah, I haven't
And
really
he
been paying
like
attention.
he recently has like gotten really sick. He's been around for a minute, but
Yeah, he's been solid for
for a while, but
a long
like,
time, but
seems
he's
like
really stepped up now.
He's really crushing it right now. Yeah. Will's watching every game. Who are you rooting for, Will? As someone who's not, you're not from Edmonton or Florida, are you?
He's from LA.
No, I know he lives in LA. I don't know if
He's a
from-
Kings fan. I've talked to him about it before.
Okay, there you go.
I think I did too, Dan.
Yeah. Oilers go.
There
Okay.
you go, buddy.
Yeah, I'm on the fence. Like, obviously, would love to see a Canadian team win, but I'd also love to see Paul Maurice win after leaving Winnipeg.
Right. Yeah, isn't that the truth, eh?
I don't know. I feel like he gave it a good shot. He's a good coach. He deserves a cup. He's been around for a while. I mean, has he won cups before, Paul Maurice? He must have.
I feel like he has.
Yeah. If not, he deserves one. He's a good coach.
Wow, Scott, that's awesome, dude.
What does he say? At 6 a.m. yesterday, the owner of the company I work for is sending me and 2 other coworkers at Stanley Cup Finals. Whoa, that's amazing, Scott. That's awesome,
Yeah, no
dude.
doubt.
Congrats. Well deserved. That's very, very fun. So that'll be at the old Rogers place there, eh? That's a really nice arena.
Paul Maurice has never won a cup.
Crazy. Okay, well, there you go. I'd like to see him win a cup. He's a good coach.
Yeah, and he's one under the belt.
Yeah. And that that arena in Edmonton's super nice. Yeah, Rogers Arena. I think actually in 2016, like it was I think the first tour I actually did with Dallas. It was one of the earlier shows at that arena when it was pretty fresh, and yeah, it was the whole complex is just like super, super top tier, like state of the art building, like the new NHL arena in Edmonton. New being like
Oh,
20,
okay.
20, I want to say 2015 or 2016, within the last 10 years.
It's pretty new then.
Will says need the Oilers to win so the Kings look good since we lost to them. But Florida's never won, and I was pulling for them in '96. There you go. When I was 4, I think I was probably pulling for Colorado at that point because my cousins like Colorado.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Nice. First time in the arena. That's awesome, Scott. You'll have a great time. I'd love to experience the energy in that arena for one of those games for sure.
Is it anything like Winnipeg, though, is the question.
Oh, I think it will be for the playoffs.
Yeah, maybe, eh?
It's a bigger, well, yeah, I will say undeniably the energy in the Winnipeg games is pretty great just because, like, everyone is, like, so into it.
Oh yeah. for
But
sure.
you know, playoff hockey, Stanley Cup final, playoff hockey in Edmonton in that arena is going to be wild. It's a huge building.
Oh yeah.
So
Have you
have fun,
ever-
Scott. That's awesome.
Have you ever been to a Jets game during the playoffs?
Not a playoff Jets game. I did the
The party.
the whiteout thing.
Oh, yeah.
But like
Oh,
never
yeah.
never in the
Yeah.
I
in the
have.
arena for a playoff
I have
game.
once.
Oh,
It's pretty crazy.
And
have
it
you?
was-
Have you?
Yeah, Derek gave me tickets
Oh,
back when he had the season tickets.
I didn't know Derek had season tickets.
Yep. He did in like the 300s, and it was wild. We got spanked, but like it was wild.
Still fun to go.
Yeah.
Just experience
Oh
it.
yeah. Experience it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. You could put that note thing in the bottom corner maybe, just so I can keep track of what's going on. Yeah. Anyways, how's it going, everybody? We could talk about hockey and
Yeah.
whatever else for a while, but we're here to talk about amps. We have Dan with us today, and pedals, and just everything. If you guys have any questions, today is literally just kind of like an AMA. Derek's out of town. Dan was free in between projects and everything else that you have going on right now. Yep.
It's a lot of stuff
Yeah.
sometimes.
Some things that are cool
Yeah.
that we won't talk about today.
No,
No.
not today, but soon enough.
Soon enough. Cool stuff. Always tinkering. Always
Yeah.
kind of cool stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, if you guys have any questions for Dan, like we did post in the Revv community there, which I think some of the guys who are watching are a part of there, but if you haven't seen it, check it out on Facebook. But if you have any questions for anyone who's tuning in here, and for anyone who doesn't know, if it's your first time watching or if you don't know who we are, Dan is our president designer. He's designed all of our amps and pedals, and has a ton of knowledge that he's always willing to share, and we just love chatting about gear and tone and stuff like that. I just love picking your brain on these streams because this is, I feel like, the time that I can corner you and pester you with my own questions.
Fair enough.
So
Fair enough.
it's good. Yeah.
Yeah, how about her? It's all
Um,
good.
We already got some going on here. Well, Will got asked a question. We'll get back to that, but I actually have a question. What was your first amp that you ever owned? I don't think I ever asked you that.
So my first amp was actually a PV solid state amplifier. So not tube.
Valve state.
Not tube. It was like a valve state thing.
Yeah, a lot of people
Had a
this.
cabinet that was about this big and very narrow,
Oh yeah.
and the head's just out on top. And it wasn't monstrous or anything. I
Right.
can't remember. Maybe it weighed 25 pounds or something. But
What was your first tube amp?
first tube amp was a Marshall, the JCM 800.
Oh, that's contradictory to what I would imagine.
Oh yeah, yeah. So I didn't know much about them, right? Because at that point I was just playing in bands. I didn't
Right.
design anything at that point.
Right. And that was, I will say, yeah, like I remember the first time we rented Backline for a show. We were like, oh, we got to rent tube amps for the gig because we had like spider combos.
Yeah.
Which in retrospect, it's like nowadays you could run something like, not the spider, but something direct like that. Like some of the combo amps these days, if you were to run it direct,
Katana.
probably wouldn't sound terrible.
A katana.
Yeah, like the Boss Katana
Yeah.
or like whatever. That would probably
Right.
sound awesome if you were to run
Yeah.
that in that application.
Well, sure.
But we went and got, not JCMs, what was,
JVM.
no.
DSL?
Yeah.
Or the TSL.
Oh.
TSL. Is TSL a thing?
Yep. There's
Yeah,
two of
that's
them.
that's what it was. And right away we were just like, "Oh, this is a bad idea." Like this was not at all what we wanted. Ended up renting Tube Screamers, and then it kind of helped. But yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
No,
I mean
but
it was a good amp at the time. I was playing in a lighter band anyway, so
What band was that? What kind of stuff was it?
I can't remember what it's called now. It was lighter. It was like just borderline jazz kind of thing.
Interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
Very
And I
interesting.
was just getting going, and so
Also, not what I would have expected.
no, it wasn't really what I was after, but I was thinking at the time, well, I'd like to be in a project, so I found these guys on like, I can't remember if it was like Kijiji or something like that.
Some sort of like musician find.
Yeah,
Craig
some kinda like that.
Craigslist.
Might have been like in the paper too, even, right?
Yeah.
And so I was like, all right, I'll give it a try.
I guess a paper ad would have been the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back in
Even
my
then,
day.
I remember putting up stuff at like music stores and things like that. Yeah.
But
yeah.
it was just a weird thing, and so I thought, all right, I'll try out this amp, and it's kind of a heavy thing to lug around, and had a 4x12 with it.
Oh yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, it sounded good, but
A few gigs up or down, too many sets of stairs.
oh, dude,
You're
yeah.
like, nope, bad move.
Yeah, I was just like, all right. And then I think it was back to like a small combo after that.
Yeah.
Small Marshall combo or something.
Nice.
But yeah, that was my first tube amp, and at the time I wasn't modding them or anything, so
Right. It was just something that would do the trick based on
yeah, as long as it powered on and
what you
the
kind of
noise,
needed. Yeah, for
good
sure.
enough.
Brent says, and this is a really good point, you learn a lot playing through a rented backline, for sure. 100%. You
Yeah.
learn what works really quick for you when you're put into that situation. And like, that's when it's beneficial to kind of have a pedal board that you can run into a clean channel that you just know will work.
Oh yeah.
Like that is when the whole pedal board setup does come in handy because you can generally get close to what you need.
Yeah, for sure.
A rat, a fuzz, or a univibe? I don't think we've ever thought of any of those things.
I mean, fuzz has kind of been on the radar a little bit.
I'm on
Rat's
Derek's
been
board here.
talked about. Not that we should do one, but
Can you get like a manageable fuzz with this swarm? Ah,
Yeah, if you could turn the volume down on that one a little bit, that would be great.
oh,
I just want a normal fuzz.
good luck.
No. I'm gonna give up in 2 seconds. Yeah.
What the heck is that?
it's Derek has this fuzz pedal on his board, and like at one point I did get like kind of just a cool normal fuzz out of it.
Which knob was it though that
Is
turned
it?
that off?
Is there a sting knob on it?
The sting knob, is that the one?
Is that on there?
No, that's not the sting knob. What is that? No.
Wow.
No, never mind. We're done with that for now.
Is that thing analog?
What?
That's not analog, is it?
I think it is. I don't know
Or
what's
is it
in
the
it.
drone?
I don't know what's in it. It has, well, actually no. There's probably some digital circuitry in it because there's like 10 different sounds in it. I was gonna try to just get like a normal fuzz sound out of it and see what you thought of it, but that's not the pedal just for a normal fuzz sound apparently.
Apparently, a
Spent
terrified
some time
dog
with it. It's the most.
surprised others.
Yeah, I
us
can-
as well. We're just like, what the?
Awesome and unexpected, yes. Yeah, it's crazy. It almost tries to be an octave pedal, but it doesn't work.
Yeah, it's weird,
Yeah.
man. It's weird.
Swollen Pickle MK3 is the best fuzz I've used. Okay, so I've heard, was it you who told me, Luke, that a bunch of the dudes who do like the super grimy heavy tone, like Putney and those guys, are
Yeah.
using the Swollen Pickle as a boost? Have you tried
Yes.
that pedal before,
I
Dan?
have not.
Way
not-
huge.
Not-
MK3. Oh, it's a way huge pedal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
way huge Swollen
Swollen
Pickle
Pickle.
is what it's called.
Yeah.
I've heard of it.
And apparently it's the thing for like that just crazy, crazy tight, like, yeah. I gotta try it.
MK3 version of it too. Well, who owns that company now?
I don't know.
I think that was bought out, wasn't it?
Sorry?
Way Huge was bought out by somebody.
Were they? I don't know. I don't actually know much about that company other than their pedals have funny names, and B, they have a couple pedals that are kind of like sleeper pedals that are really sick. That being one of them, like the Swollen
yeah,
Pickle. But that's, yeah. You brought that up last week, I think. That
Yes.
like Loathe uses it and Putney uses it.
Knocked loose.
Knock Loose uses it.
And obviously would use it.
Yeah.
Fit for an autopsy, probably.
Dunlop. There you go, Brent.
Yeah, Dunlop.
Brent
right?
with all the knowledge today. Thanks, man. Appreciate that.
I was going to say, we're missing Derek this week because he would have told us, like,
Yeah, he would've known.
immediately. Like, oh, yeah, Dunlop just
Yeah.
bought it.
NYC Geology just says the swarm pedal just terrified his dog. Sorry.
Yeah,
I
terrified
apologize
mine,
to your dog.
Yeah.
Cheers from Newfoundland. What's up, Scott? Wishing I was in Newfoundland. I have some buddies that are going to be out there soon, and I'm really jealous of them. Have you been to Newfoundland, Dan?
I have not.
It's very cool.
Yeah, it sounds pretty
It's
cool.
a very sick place. Good.
At some point, I'd like to get there. But
Will had asked a question. I don't know if it was like, where do you start when you're looking to design an amp, or like what kind of inspires you to design a new amp? Like, is there, like, are you someone who one day you just kind of have an idea for a new product, or is there like you kind of hear a sound that inspires you to maybe explore something, or is it that you usually like run into a situation where you need something? Yeah, what inspires you to design a new amp? Is it more situational, or do you like hear something and it inspires you?
I would say it's probably just tone based, or like the generators are what they are, as many of you know that own them.
Yeah.
Their mid range is different, and you know there's just something about it. But there's a lot of amps that have different tones that are more mid scooped and stuff like that. So for me, it first revolves around, do we have, I guess if we're talking just business perspective, it starts with, okay, well, do we have room in the market for that?
Yeah,
That we
right.
can compete? Like
Is
now,
there a
anyway.
place for this product?
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
But ultimately, I just like to tinker. You know, like I play a guitar when I'm designing and stuff like that. Obviously, I don't really have a lot of time just to sit by now and practice new licks or anything like that.
Right. It's more on like a sonic basis,
Absolutely.
just like sounds that you like hearing.
And so when I get into it,
I get that.
then it's like, oh, what's this new sound, right? Then I get inspired. So it's basically just hunting for sound. I just like to hunt for sound and then bring it to life in electronics.
It's funny you say that because like that's kind of how these days I explore writing, because I don't have like quite as much the same thing, like not as much time to quite and sit and like work out parts and practice and stuff. So it's more or less like scrolling through things, and then I'll stumble upon something sonically where it's like, oh, that's cool, like, and then something playing wise makes sense once you have that specific sound.
Yeah.
Like I definitely believe that tone can influence like your, like, aside from just the feel of your playing, like I think tone can influence ideas too.
Oh, really? Big time.
Yeah,
Big time.
for sure. I don't know how everybody
Yeah.
here feels about that, but like I definitely think like, yeah, maybe if you find a cool sound, like for me that almost is just as inspiring as finding like a new shape that I like or something like that.
Well, yeah, even before the stream you were playing, you're like, this sounds very Counterparts-esque.
Yeah.
And you just started ripping a whole song, basically.
Right. Just like land on a chord, and then it's like, oh yeah, you could play like a whole thing like
Yeah.
that. But that's often how, like, yeah, if I'm writing something, it's more or less just like, and I feel like a lot of the people that I hang with, it's kind of the same thing, and you gotta ask that often. How do you sit down and like work out an idea? And I think it's more or less that you just kind of stumble on a specific thing and then roll with it, which is probably a lot of the same concept there.
100%.
Like you're kind of just messing around in your comfort zone, and something clicks, and then it's like, you know where it fits from there.
Totally. And then one thing just leads you to another.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, how did I get here?
Yeah.
But you're digging it along the way, right? So it's
Totally.
just like
Yeah.
the journey kind of continues to inspire you, if you will.
Yeah. You just scroll down there. Ooh, that's a good question. Yeah. Sorry. Side note. I think that mentality I think applies to a lot of things musically, because I think but where it's a subjective thing, it's not really like there's a right answer to it. So it's
100%, right? And,
yeah.
and even like when you're looking at it from like designing an electronic product, like even from that regard, it's no different than like if your mentality is, okay, I'm gonna write a song today, right? Or I'm
Yeah.
gonna write a part to a song, and you sort of lead yourself down that path, and you come up with different parts, and you modify it here or there. I mean, it's the same thing with designing a product. If you're passionate about the sound,
Right.
like you'll just do whatever it takes to continue to follow that inspiration that you found wherever it is. And so for me, sometimes that'll last months though, right? Like I'll have to obviously take many breaks, because like after an hour or two of trying to mess around with new sounds, you become tone deaf to whatever you're trying to chase.
Yeah. Exactly.
But
You can overwork your ear 100%.
yeah, absolutely. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't think it's any one thing in particular. It's just like not even from a business perspective. It's just like I just know what I want to do today,
Right.
and so I'm hunting for this sound.
Right.
And like even with considering what might come after the Generator series, like if there's ever a second amp line, which probably will happen, or a third in this case because the Dynamis exists, but
Yeah. I was gonna say inevitably it will.
yeah, but it'll be completely different, right? I don't know what I sort of have an idea of what I want with that kind of sound, but I know that'll just be a whole new journey, and so I'm already inspired to do that just because of that thought of chasing that sound.
Yeah.
But then the rest of that just sort of lies in the process of doing it, I guess.
Yeah. Kind of working it out in between that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Scott had asked what was it his Desert Island amp that he had built, or yeah?
Yeah, what was your Desert Island amp that you've designed?
If I had to guess, I'd probably say the 10th anniversary so far, just because it's kind of the culmination of everything.
Yeah, that would be it for sure.
Yeah.
You know, like I kind of think, at first I was thinking the 7-watt, but it doesn't have a lot of the things that the 10th anniversary has. So
Oh, the 7-watt, like your original one.
Yeah,
Yeah, which
yeah.
is right over there. Yeah, we've had that on the stream before. It would be cool to hook that up again with the 2 notes and see.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. It's funny we had.
And like that's inspiration right there, right?
Right. Oh,
For
it was
another
funny. We
product,
had our rep here from Musifacts the other day, and Derek plugged into that thing, and he was just like, "Whoa."
Oh yeah, let him hear it.
Yeah.
Oh okay.
Yeah. It was cool. Oh, we
Interesting.
tried a bunch of different stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, it was great. He loved it.
He did, eh?
Everyone who's tried that thing is like, man, that sounds great. Like,
Okay. So I mean, yeah, that's inspiration right there. So I mean, you know, it's already 10 plus years old or whatever it is, and one day I might take that and run with it into another product. I mean, we've talked about that before, where you know maybe it becomes a 1-channel, I don't know, 50-watt or something, but it's got a unique sound and it's not like the Generator, even though it says
yeah,
Generator.
it's not. I mean,
It's not even.
it's the
MK1.
original. I guess technically it is a generator, but It is different. Like the mid range is different. The low end is different. It has more of that kind of searing mid range thing going on,
Yeah.
and the low end's tight, but it's not as boomy.
Right.
You know, like it's more of an upper mid character, and it's super aggressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like it quite a bit.
So I mean, yeah, inspiration just comes from all those things, I guess. I suppose that all roads lead to inspiration in some form or another.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
But Desert Island app, yeah, it'd have to be the MK3 10th anniversary,
Yeah,
just because it's the culmination of everything I've done. And
yeah.
so if I had to be stuck without an app on a desert island, I would hope that'd be in my suitcase. That
No
washed up.
food, but I have AC power for the amp that I have.
Yeah,
And
good enough.
We're good.
Yeah.
This is the original revision B that you modded, which is the same circuit as the 10th anniversary, I guess.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think this one might just have 6L6s in it because this is the original.
Yes.
But yeah, that's just so tight, man. Like that's the 4th channel on the 10th anniversary, or like the revision B to me is great because it's just like, I liked obviously the tightness of the purple channel, but like this has the sag still of the mid range, but the tight low end, and I think I'm learning that I like that more. Like I like the mids a little bit saggier, but I like it's tight still.
Yeah.
But like still super clear.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, like super articulate for sure.
it's still like that's the same setting for leads, and it's still really squishy, right?
Yeah.
The mids aren't too harsh in that register.
Yeah.
As soon as you turn that off.
Yeah, it cuts, but it's not overbearing. And it's quite well balanced, right? And not super boomy or anything.
Yeah, this timeline, Luke, I figured out what it is now. Is if you go on B, you turn B off, it stays on, but if you turn A off and on, it turns off.
Yeah.
It's busted.
Yeah.
Side note, oh, dude, but yeah, that sounds so tight.
You would know that.
Well, the guitar obviously has a lot to play in that regard too. Eh?
I mean, I can make most. This is the thing, and like I forget who it was that I talked about. I want to do a stream on here where it's cheap guitar into high-end amp versus high-end guitar into cheap amp, because I feel like if I was to plug most guitars into this amp, I could probably get close to this. And this guitar obviously has an amazing sound. Like this, any of the guitars that I own, like this, the Schecter, the RSDDs, they all have like a great acoustic tonality. But if you're playing them through something that sounds terrible, it's still going to affect it in some way.
Yeah.
So I think if we were to grab like a Squire or something cheap and play it through this, we could get it closer than going the other direction.
100%.
You know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I use a $600 Schecter guitar to voice all the products.
Right, because you want to get an honest representation of how it sounds.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I don't want to go big
Yeah.
right off the hop and go, okay, it sounds massive like this, but then you plug something else in and it's like, oh wait, we're missing something.
Totally. Yeah,
Right.
you want to get like an honest perspective as to what it's going to sound like, and yeah, like what it's going to sound like with most guitars. And that's the thing too, is like I feel like on the stream it would be beneficial in some ways for us to use cheaper guitars. I was talking with a gentleman named Randy who came by the shop, and he made a really good point. It gives the amps a really honest representation if we're using instruments that people aren't going to favor anyway.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Oh,
So,
yeah.
yeah.
Because you got to consider what's more common out there, right?
Yeah.
It's not going to be really expensive high-end guitars.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a good chunk of that out there for sure. Don't get me
And
wrong,
we
but-
obviously, like with these guys, we have great relationships with these companies and
Yeah.
love the instruments and obviously want to represent and do all that, which is why we obviously use all these, and they're fun to play.
Oh,
But
absolutely.
at the same time,
Catalogs.
yeah, like I think I would opt for, like a higher end amp with a cheaper guitar than
Yeah.
the opposite.
And for me, I get used to, I just get used to that guitar to the point where now I feel like I'm doing myself a disservice if I try another guitar, right? Because I've also become so acclimatized to this thing. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
well, I know exactly what it's going to put out. I know exactly how it's going to respond, what the feeling should be and all that. And so now it's just a matter of, okay, where's that Schecter? Like if I'm voicing a new product, Schecter first. And then when I'm happy with that, then I'll start bringing in maybe some more expensive guitars, maybe a 7-string or something.
Yeah, the 7th string is always an important thing.
Totally.
Ronnie says, is there someone you looked up into in the gear industry that's offered advice or guidance? I
That's a
think
good question.
We're always
Ronnie.
meeting a lot of inspiring people, I will say, going to like NAMM or going to Sweetwater and meeting so many just like incredibly knowledgeable and like cool people,
Totally.
you know?
Met a lot of cool people for sure doing this so far.
Yeah.
I don't know that I've met anybody that's really inspired me to do this and build product or even had advice that led me to maybe think a different way or anything like that. I think it's just been just the motivation of the drive I have to do this
Yeah.
has just led me to do it, to learn it, to experiment, to get better at it,
Yeah.
and just continue doing that because
Yeah. And you meet people who inspire you to like
to
be,
continue
to be
like,
the best you can be at that because
Yeah.
they're doing such a great job at what they do.
100%.
Yeah. 100%.
And so maybe it's a little bit of that in that regard, but
Yeah, totally. I would say for like not in a design aspect, but for me, it's just like you meet someone who is just so passionate and driven and just killing it at what they do. Where it's like I just want to be that good at whatever. Like everyone kind of has
Totally.
a different goal,
yeah,
and I think it's like being around people that inspire you to reach whatever goal that is, just based on their drive and ethics and stuff like that is like the main thing.
and even like having that competition in the market, like yeah, it is inspiring, right? You just gotta look at things from the best perspective and just be like, okay, well, I mean, competition is competition. There's that in every market, but if you look at it as like building a community in that regard too, yeah, you can be inspired.
Absolutely. Yeah, which it should be. You know, like we're all in this because we like doing it. So,
Totally, yeah.
what's your favorite non-Revv amp?
I'd say it's probably the dual rec.
Dual rack, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just because, I'm not a young pup, so the dual rec was like, I don't know what, it's 40 years old too, I think, right?
Well, I don't know, man. Like, if you boost it, you can still make it do the thing. There's still people that do it,
Yeah.
and when I hear it, sometimes I'm like, oh, yeah.
It's
like,
massive,
When
it's
you
nasty.
tweak it the right way, like you can make it just crazy for
Yeah.
sure. Someone asked, go back up a little bit, Luke. Sorry, there was one I saw there. How important is serviceability and repairability when you're designing a new amp? Like, how much is that considered?
Oh, big time.
I would say
Huge.
from working in the shop, the amps are set up to be very, very easily accessible.
Yeah,
For sure.
yeah.
Yeah, which makes it easier for us and as well, like,
Well, when I first started building them, it was all point to point, and
right,
they're a monster to assemble, so
a lot of work, yeah.
a lot of work.
It was
And
just you and Scott Craker doing it for a long time.
Totally, yeah.
Yeah.
And so Scott got good at it, but I designed it in a way that Scott could get the hang of, but it was kind of complex, and so for me, I'd have the schematics and the build logs that I made myself, but they weren't easy to understand because, like for another person, because I made them for myself, right?
Yeah,
Like in the beginning.
totally.
And so as we got into like the MK2s, then I started to think, well, okay, well, what about like if these things start to break in the field? Like the guys that need to repair this, they're also going to struggle with that.
Right.
All right, so I didn't want to leave them that way. So I thought, okay, well,
Yeah, 100%.
let's make it so that it's more modular
Yeah.
and these things can be assembled easy,
The MK3s
come apart easy.
were a massive change
Yeah,
in that
huge.
regard.
Huge,
They're so
yeah.
much more easily accessible than the
Yeah.
MK2s. And it's so funny too, because like rarely, I don't see like a ton of issues with the MK3 amps, but like the correspondence with either the customer or the tech versus the MK2 amps in terms of getting it resolved is just so much smoother.
Yeah.
Because like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's great.
like there's one point I'll mention, like in the MK3 amps now, I have one board for all the communication stuff, like the intelligence, the microcontrollers, and all that stuff, built on one board, so that I know if something fails in the field, it's probably that board. Then we can just send one out to the client or the repair tech. They do a quick swap, and it's literally like 5-10 minutes.
Yeah, totally.
So-
That's what you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so for me, that's important because I don't want to have a tech feel like it's like over complex, because then it adds more time to the repair. Client has to wait longer, or the owner of the app has to wait longer, and like nobody wants that.
Yeah.
So the faster they can repair it, if it's like a no-brainer, boom, that's I'm all about that.
Yeah, absolutely. And it just makes it easier too. Like often there are certain things you can just resolve like before it even needs to go, to a
Right.
tech.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's easier for the client too. Like there's times where a customer will feel comfortable enough or have some experience, and they're like, "Oh, just send me that board, then I'll just put it in." And sure enough, it's just a matter of like, okay, well here's the instructions.
Yeah.
Follow this A to B, and then boom, it's done. And they're like, "Hey, it worked, man. That was super simple."
Yeah,
That's all.
exactly.
So yeah, it's super important.
Keep it simple. Dave says, "Is there Rev A in between the original and Rev B?" I don't. I mean, I'd probably just like the kind of experiments that you were doing in between the two. Is that what you mean? Like in between the revision A and B, were there other mods?
Yeah, I think that's what he means.
So
I don't think anything like.
it wasn't crazy.
No.
Like the Rev B is basically, there are some pretty major mods where I can't just quickly modify a revision A to make it into a B.
Yeah.
But it wasn't earth shattering by any means, and so maybe I had a couple of different tweaks that I maybe reversed, but like before finding what I eventually landed on.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like I sort of reinvented the wheel and then kind of went back. My outlook, I think, to be honest, the revision B, or the 10th anniversary, is the inspiration of the first generator, like the MK1. It was just me looking back and going, after playing it once, because I hadn't played them in so long, I set them up, and I can't remember who. I was with maybe Derek or somebody. And we were noodling here, and all of a sudden it was like, oh man, that sounds different than what I have. And then I just sort of had the idea, like, okay, why don't I just put that like crazy, more aggressive sound back into the
Yeah.
MK3.
Yeah,
right?
it was a little more over the top for sure. Yeah.
So that's basically it. There wasn't anything crazy in between.
Mhm.
It actually came pretty easy because I knew what I wanted to, so I knew what I needed to change and still maintain the integrity of the build.
Chewbacca, hello, says, I used to use several amps, Mesa Mark V, JCM, and a Princeton, and generator replaced all of them for me. Oh, thank you. What
Dude,
tones
that's
or
awesome.
other amps were you looking towards that made it so crazy versatile? I have
Nothing.
an interpretation of what it was when I tried it, and you have what it actually was when you designed it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I didn't. For me, I knew that the market was pretty saturated with amplifiers, and I didn't want to copy anything. I just wanted to create the Revv sound. And so when you're at ground zero, you're just sort of like, okay, so what do I do then to get started? And so it's just a matter of just trying things out. And I probably went through 50 and 20 different like schematic arrangements, if you could call them that, of just trying things out to see what worked, right? I remember there was this one circuit I had where I had an input stage that drove two other stages that were running in parallel to each other, two preamp stages. One voiced really bright, one voiced really dark. Then I brought them back in and I mixed them together into another stage, which sounded really cool. And you could sort of like a tilt EQ idea.
right,
You could kind of go between the two,
interesting.
but ultimately it didn't stand the test of time for me.
Right.
But yeah, there was really nothing that I looked towards in terms of other amps. It was just a matter of let's just throw things together and just find that voicing in my head that I had.
Yeah.
Because I knew kind of what I was looking for. And when I did find the generator circuit, I could remember strumming it the first time and going, man, that's rich.
That's what you wanted, yeah.
And that's what I was going for.
I think like there were certain aspects, like when I first tried it, it was never like I thought this was based on anything. There were certain aspects of other sounds that were there, but there were certain aspects of sounds that were not there. And the clean channel had certain aspects of things that were kind of different than what I'd expect from the gain channel, and it was I feel like each channel kind of just filled a different gap in terms of what I was hearing.
Yeah, totally.
And I think that was kind of the ideology with the amp, was just to put everything into one. I mean, it's a 4-channel amp, so every channel needs to have relevant space within that.
Yeah,
You know?
I didn't want to just create one where, oh yeah, it had a great channel 3, but all the other channels sucked. So really putting in that time to make sure they were winners, right?
Oh, Revv's take on a Vox style clean.
Sorry, what?
Sorry, it says Revv's take on a Vox style clean. You know what's funny is we just had that Dallas gig, and usually Mitch asks for a deluxe reverb, and they had a Fender Twin or an AC, and he's like, "Oh, I'll take the AC," and I was like, interesting. He's like, "No, the AC sounds bigger than the Twin does," and it totally sounded great. It sounded huge. So maybe I'm kind of wrong. It was a good AC 30 though.
What guitar was he using?
He was using an SG and a Tele.
Yeah.
And just SG and a Tele.
Tellies and
That's it.
Voxes sound good,
Yeah.
I will say.
No, it sounded awesome. That was one of the few times where I was like, oh, maybe that is better than the Twin. But I think Twin is a little bit thinner, and he likes the Twin for like pedal steel. But
Oh yeah. That's cool. That's good. Yeah.
what are the new upcoming products? We can't say that.
Take on a Vox. Well, I mean, we've talked about it. We've talked about EL84s in the shop. We talked about maybe trying to convert like a D20 from 6V6 to EL84s, just to see what it sounds like.
Yeah, you can kind of emulate it in the software. Like the TuneOut software does have it, and it's definitely more like pointy, which I don't think is bad. But I think for a single channel amp, I like a little bit more of that like low end warmth. Personal preference, I guess.
Yes, me
But,
too. Which is why
yeah.
I want 6V6 as a.
For sure.
I just, I was doing some servicing before really starting up this business, and you run across an EL84 amp, and then you look at the tube, and it's like the branding is all worn out, and you can tell, oh man, this thing's been overheated, and they're all like that, right?
Yeah, for
like,
sure.
EL84s, they run hot, man.
They get toasty.
Oh yeah.
EL34s do too. Like it's because they're lower headroom on them, I guess. Like they hit their kind of peak earlier, and just get super hot. Like,
Absolutely.
Yeah, and they sound great, but like
They sound great, but
yeah.
I don't know. Not to say I would never do it. It's just if there's an order of operations, that
Yeah.
it'd be like 6L6, EL34s, 6V6s, and maybe we touch on 84s at some point. But I'm
Yeah.
going to do all the other stuff first because, like you, right? I'm like, well, I like the warmth of these tubes, so. Like, I don't
yeah,
really wanna-
but I like the 34s in the 10th anniversary. Like I think that kind of blending with the like kind of bigger voice of the channel is nice.
Very nice. When we stumbled upon that, I was pretty happy.
Have you considered designing a Dumble cloner circuit? Interesting. Did you try the Dumble at Blackbird? Were you guys over there when you tried that? I did not try it. I've heard about it, but I've not tried it.
I tried one at somebody's place. I didn't play that one,
And then,
but
yeah, Derek said he tried another one that was better than the one at Blackbird.
yeah, so I played that one.
Yeah.
I was going to say they're talking about the same one.
Yeah, it was good. The place I tried it, there was two there. One sounded better than the other, and so
It's
I don't know,
interesting.
man. Like, yeah, that's the thing about.
It's kind of like the Soldanos too. Like Dorian sounded sick, and then we tried to get Derek's to sound the same. You said you found something wrong with Dorian's
It
though,
was
and that
broken.
it was broken, and that was why it sounded sick.
Yeah, and then I fixed it.
It was like,
I fixed it. I said to Dorian, like, try it out, man. If you don't like it, I'll re-break it for you. But
yeah, it was just like a ground wire somewhere, right?
yeah, it was a ground.
Jeez.
Yeah, less than ground wire.
And he didn't like it.
No, so he never had me reverse it though. So I guess he liked it. So,
Who knows?
That
So
or he
I-
just doesn't play it.
or he just doesn't play anymore. Yeah.
I
But
mean,
Dumble
he's
clone-
probably used it on recordings, but
I probably wouldn't do a Dumble clone just because there's so many different sounds.
yeah,
Right? Like if I was to do one, and I don't know if I want to clone anything, to be honest with you. Like maybe I might find inspiration in one and go, oh, I like the way that feels, or I like the way that sounds, and
yeah,
maybe I'll do something of my own that's sort of like that.
yeah, for
It,
sure.
it could be an inspiration into a product, but I just can't clone things. It's just not me.
And it also is like having that space in the market.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Something
Yeah.
like it seems like I'm tired. Something is tickling me, and it's like making me yawn. I'm like feeling like I have to sneeze. There's something in my throat that is like making me do that. And I took out this in-ear, and it stopped.
Oh no.
Now I put it back in and it's doing it again. And I have no idea what's going on. That's really funny. Sorry if that happens. I can't figure out what it is.
Hey, you on away, man.
That's what, I think it's like the wrong size foam and it's like bothering me or something.
It's your live stream.
That's super
Whatever you
weird.
should do.
Back on the dumbbells there, I know Derek said this on the stream before, but he kind of was saying the same thing with you, where all the dumbbells that he's tried have sounded so different.
Yeah.
So it's like you can't really.
And it's like clones are like that too.
Yeah,
You know, like a lot of those kind of like iconic things are all like a thing that are sought after, but they all definitely were built by hand and are probably different, you know?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to get that one dumbbell sound if all of them sound different, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm looking for the Revv sound, right? Yeah. Like the reason that people say, "Oh, it sounds like a Revv," or "There's a Revv sound," is because we did the heavy lifting of like trying to make that happen. So it was like, I don't want to create like another this or another that. I want to make my own sound. You know, where you hear like a Marshall, you go, "Oh, that's a Marshall sound." Well, I want people to say, "Oh, I heard the Revv, and that's a Revv sound."
Totally.
And it's like,
We're not trying to like recreate something else.
absolutely. I think there's more, for me, there's more reward in finding my own thing and going, okay, there. Because I'm like naturally, I just like to sort of invent things and come up with
Totally.
things like that, right? Even if it's not like earth shattering where it's like, oh, I invented the new blah, 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 and that's the only thing in the world that exists like it.
Were you into like,
it's not like
that
that,
type
right?
of stuff before amps? Like
Yeah,
tinkering
big time.
Like that, yeah.
Electronics, loved it. So like robotics and stuff like that.
Yeah, and that's kind of what you worked in before
Yeah,
doing Revv, right?
yeah.
Because like that, yeah, I think we like kind of the story of how Revv actually started, but like you were, yeah, what were you like designing products before like that?
Yeah, I was fixing them at first, and then I got into building like custom like work enclosures, custom work cells, stuff like that had robots in them.
That's cool.
So I'd build all these things, put like a controller in that controlled the cell, and so it's just automation essentially, right?
Yeah, you're kind of like programming it
Yeah.
to do stuff.
Building and programming.
Yeah,
and
that's
then
really cool.
When it came to the tube amp, I couldn't help but think, well, what about some automations in there, right?
Mm-hmm.
What about some fancy switching and some relay this and relay that? And not to say it didn't exist before, but I just did it a little differently.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you don't have to recreate the wheel, right? You just
Yeah,
modify it. a little
modify
bit.
the wheel. They have skinny wheels now.
Spin the wheel a different way.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So that's my take on that. Hope that helped answer that question.
Sean agrees with the amp over guitar
Mr. Tubbs.
sentiment. How's it going, Sean? Good to see you here, man.
Thanks for coming there, buddy. Sweet, that's awesome there, Chewbacca. That's the intention of that channel, was to be different enough than 3 and 4, but yeah, focusing really on the middle, because the mids are what really give it that brilliance and that, for that, essentially that niche or
For the green
that
channel.
genre, right?
Yeah.
Of tone that we're sort of hunting for.
Some green channel action going
It was
on here.
it was very challenging though, because you know you've got this one power section and you kind of got to make it all work through this power section, one power supply that's stiff enough to work for a high gain amp, and then try to make channel 2 respond a certain way. I wouldn't say I nailed it because there were limitations because of the power supply and the power section, but the mids definitely stand out. So thanks for confirming that for me. That's great. Glad to hear that it's working for you like that.
It's funny because I was talking to Rich because he's starting to test some amps now, and I was saying like the second channel definitely requires the most attention because I feel like it covers the most ground, like in terms of what you can use it for. Like if you're doing the rock thing, it starts like flat. But as you go up with the drives, you can get more into the.
Yeah.
More like kind of classic type tones, but it also, when you use the bright switch, like it really tightens up in a way where it works for, this. There's a lot of versatility within just the one channel, right?
Totally.
And even using that one setting, if I change my pickups.
And with the right guitar, like something like that, man, the tones are endless.
Totally, yeah, having like all the different pickup options and stuff. But the channel will respond differently to, you know, something like a Les Paul, which would be more like that type of thing, or like the Strat type thing. Telly. Whatever you want it to do, and that's all with the same setting. Let alone, you know, if you wanted to drive it harder.
Yeah, awesome.
So I feel like this channel has kind of like, there's a lot of gain variance within the high gain channels, but this channel definitely has the most flexibility because when it's fully backed off, you know, that's with the red drive, right? Like it's essentially clean. Even if I run the drive like halfway and I back my guitar volume off. Huge. Same sound.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. So yeah, that's definitely it.
Yeah, I love that. It's like, yeah, beefier kind of Marshall type sound. Hey Devin, I will check the email. I'd be glad to help you out with that. There is like a general email you can send it out to. info@revamps.com would generally be the email I'd use. But feel free to hit me up as well, and I'd be happy to help at sam@revamps.com. But info@revamps.com would be the general email pertaining to the website. We'll be glad to help you out. And also just kind of pick your brain on that for sure. Yeah, that's kind of my favorite tone with the second channel, I would say, is something along those lines.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Great. Super versatile.
Sam just plays beautifully, eh?
Thanks.
A D100, oh boy. I don't know. I mean, it'd be cool for sure, don't get me wrong. I agree. I agree with you there, 100%. I just don't know how many people would buy a D100, you know?
A D100?
Yeah.
All the guys that like the big old trainer amps would maybe do it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
That is certainly a thing.
Yeah, I haven't explored that
Yeah.
in depth, but maybe one day.
See how it goes. D100 and the G10.
And
Yeah.
the G10.
I don't know.
Then the T1000
T1000.
right
Oh,
around
boy.
the corner.
Yeah.
That's the next one, eh?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know what the T means yet, but we'll figure
Derek
something
says national touring guitarists would take a D100. I was gonna say I feel like there is actually a market for that. Just like a
okay.
super high headroom single channel clean head, you know?
Yeah.
Like
that's
just
true. That's
crank it up, it'll never break up.
true. Yeah. I mean, the headroom would be there for sure, Sean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who knows?
Yeah.
60 I feel like would be a thing too.
60 would
Like
be good. Yeah.
when I was at Quest we did sell some like 60-watt tube combos.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
You know? I mean like the Black Star ones or
Yeah, right.
yeah, and they were still pretty popular. Yeah. What cabs are the amps voiced with? Yeah, do you use just something with V30s?
I use one cab. It's the same cab I've used since the beginning, and that was a Marshall 212 with V30s in it. Sorry, Mesa 212 with V30s in it. That Derek borrowed me, and I still have 10 years later,
Nice.
11 years later.
Still works.
Still works.
Does it have UK V30s?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they're UK. Derek can correct me if I'm wrong there, but
Yeah.
it's,
Yeah, and
it's
that's
nice.
often why like people ask why we like using the Celeste and stuff too. And like, yeah, you do enjoy voicing them with V30s. Like, it's a pretty good representation of what the amp's gonna sound like. I mean, if it sounds good through a V30,
Yeah.
it'll probably sound good through most things.
And there's so many people running them, that that you just know that, okay, well, V30s are kind of the standard, eh?
No, Derek, the cab's not in the bathroom. Cab's at Dan's house. He's with the Friedman Wah. We're just joking. It's funny, like there's just certain things. What was it that?
Friedman, wow.
No. What was it that you found?
the
Found?
DL4.
It was the DL4. Oh, it wasn't. Sorry, the Wah's still missing. It was
okay.
It was the DL4.
I found that here.
Yeah.
No, I know.
Yeah,
we
yeah.
were looking for it forever.
Oh, I know.
We couldn't find it.
Derek asked me a bunch
Yeah.
of times, you have that? You have that? I was
No,
like, but I
that-
don't. Then I found it here the other day.
That was the joke. We
Yeah.
were looking for the DL4 forever. So it's the Friedman Wah that's still. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, there was a box of stuff. I went to open it. I was like, well, looky there.
Look at there. It's the DL4.
Yeah.
Do Revv cabs come close to that tone? Yeah, I would say so. Like
Yeah.
we do enjoy using V30s. Like we offer them in all of our cabinets, and that's kind of the stock option for all of our cabinets. So
Yeah.
yeah, I would say so. Absolutely.
Totally.
Yep.
Sometimes bigger, in my opinion, depending on what's in them.
Yeah.
Like it's pretty good, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we obviously love our tone too, and so we're not going to settle for less, to be honest.
Yeah. I think the V30s, like where it's a very standard speaker, like you're gonna get a good representation of pretty much whatever anybody's gonna put it through. And they do sound good, like especially for kind of the high gain stuff. They break up fairly quick, so like you do get a lot of that natural kind of breakup in the speaker,
Oh yeah,
which is nice.
big time.
Yeah, I do like doing the mix with the creamback.
Yeah,
I don't know,
that
with
sounds
the
good.
higher wattage heads at least, like because the creamback does have a little bit more depth.
Mm-hmm.
With the lower wattage amps, I like the V30 because like with a D20 or a D25, like the wattage works well with that type of voice in the speaker. I think.
Yeah.
Would you say V30 is your favorite speaker?
V30 is my favorite, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. Like I don't mind mixing them with other things, but
Yeah.
they have to be a part of the equation.
Yeah. Blending with the creamback is quite nice for
Yeah,
sure.
that was a great sound.
But all
really-
creamback is like a little warm for me. you know?
Yeah.
Mixing and
on its
matching.
own, totally.
Eminence. Have you tried Eminence speakers much?
I have. I actually built my first cabinets with Eminence for a customer.
Oh yeah.
He had Texas Heat and
I've
Governors in them.
heard about the Texas Heats quite a bit. A lot of people have brought that up.
They're pretty good. Eminence to me are sort of like craft beer, where you have to really like just get it, right? Like
I just want to point out though, when Dan said craft beer, Luke held up his PBR.
PBR is like a V30. So.
I'll drink to that one.
PBR is like the non-UK V30s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what you're gonna get.
That's,
I do.
Yeah.
It's a good time.
oh
Yeah,
no.
I'd say Eminence is sort of like craft beer, where you gotta love it.
Yeah.
If you don't,
Yeah.
yeah, it's not. I mean, they're good speakers. Don't get me wrong.
I've heard good things for sure. I'd be
Yeah.
curious to try them.
Yeah.
Scott Nickerson has a question. He says, how do you decide how much the control changes sound like the bass? How much do you settle on bass limitations? Overall EQ response, I guess, is what you're referring to. Do you like it? Like, I don't, I feel like the EQs on our amps are not overly, like they're fairly continuous and not overly exaggerated, which I like. Like,
Yeah.
I don't like anything that pulls too quick. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. So let me. Yeah, sorry, we're just.
And Derek says, what do we eat tonight? Chicken sandwiches, bud.
Chicken sandwiches, yeah. Mary
Yeah.
Brown's. So yeah, I definitely give that some consideration. Obviously, I don't want any frequencies in there that are useless. Like I don't want you to turn it up to full blast and go, man, the last 10% just is unusable. So I'll take that kind of stuff out. But I also want to make sure that it's completely usable, right?
Right, of
So
course.
like our gain knobs, you can crank them right up.
And
Some amps you can't go past 10, 11, 12 o'clock.
That's exactly it. Like with some amps, when you get to that point, it's like, why does this even go here?
Yeah, exactly.
You can't use this
It's unusable.
like functionally.
Yeah.
You know?
So I tried to make sure that the range was very broad but very usable, and that even like the volume controls weren't just like, touch it and all of a sudden you're full blast, but no, you had a range to work with. So yeah, I'm very deliberate about what I do when it comes to how much you get with the controls
Nice.
or
Yeah.
how little.
it's kind of like you can't make it do anything that's going to damage your ears, really.
Yeah.
Which I like, for sure.
Great.
You can do that with other things, and I've done it by accident.
Right on.
I saw Derek said he went to try the DV77 speakers, and then Charles said that he actually used and really liked those, so those might be on my list to try out.
So I've heard of those for sure.
Sean says the CV75 from Eminence. Cool.
Yeah,
Nice.
I definitely want to try the DV77s.
Nice.
I've heard that those suckers are pretty good, so
Sick.
yeah, might be a pretty good contender.
Devin says the V30 is the chicken strip basket of speakers. Dude, I will crush a chicken strip basket any day, though. That's a good thing. It's reliable.
Oh, the Jim Root speakers. Yeah,
Oh, cool.
yeah.
That's why they sound good.
So those I'd like to get my hands on.
Devin says the Jim Root speakers, the DB77. Yeah, Luke, I'd grab one too there, buddy. Yeah.
I'm still good.
Nice.
Thank you, Luke.
A couple people asked in the group, what have you been listening to recently? Which is a good one.
Oh, okay.
Because I don't even know you listen to.
Yeah.
That's actually a good question.
So
What's everyone here been listening to as well? I'm curious.
Yeah.
I need some new tunes. I was going through my car playlist today, and I was like, man, I've been listening to the same stuff so much.
I've been listening to the same things over and over lately. Although, when there's a new band that comes on, like if I'm listening to the radio, satellite radio or whatever, like I've been listening to Octane lately, and so I've been digging like that Ice 9 Kills.
You met
That's
Ricky
pretty
at
good.
NAM, eh?
Yeah.
In the booth there. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
really cool
Keith
guy.
is great. Yeah, thanks, Luke. Yeah.
And so,
Yeah, Ricky's awesome.
I mean, the fact that they're touring with Metallica and stuff like that, I thought, wow, like that's such a great opportunity. And then Octane started playing them, and I was like, man, that kills. Like, that's really good tunes. So
Yeah,
I've
that's
been
awesome.
digging some of their stuff lately. And there's this odd band that came up on my YouTube feed called Daybreaker.
Dayseeker.
Dayseeker.
Dayseeker's awesome. Yeah, they're great.
Really good.
Yeah, they're
man.
really good. Yeah, Rory's got a crazy voice.
Oh, he's amazing.
Yeah, he's
That's
got
what drew me to the band, and I
Yeah,
thought, dude,
Dayseeker. They were here last year with Silverstein.
oh, they were here.
They were here, yeah.
Oh, darn.
Yeah, they're awesome. I don't know any of the dudes in that band personally, but they're closely affiliated with Daniel Bronstein, who's a producer who does like Spirit Box, Silent Planet, Era. What's that?
The high ambient stuff.
Oh yeah.
The ambient soundscape.
Yeah,
chunks.
Daniel played guitar for Volumes back in the day. But yeah, Dayseeker's awesome. Yeah, Rory's got a
Really good, man.
crazy good voice.
Oh yeah, like so I crushed a couple of their tunes,
Yeah.
and I went searching for more. I thought, I don't know what it is, but I like this. So,
Yeah.
So I've been digging that.
He's got a really powerful voice. It's funny because it's very like almost R&B and like soul in some spots, but he almost does like the
Totally.
3 days grace thing in some
Yeah,
spots
yeah.
too, like the kind of gritty thing.
And he's got a decent scream on him too, eh?
Yeah,
Like the fact that it's like a bit of a roller coaster ride through his tunes,
like,
like, it's
yeah.
really entertaining.
totally. That's awesome, dude.
So I've been dealing with that. Bad Omens is another one I
Yeah,
recently got into.
yeah, they're huge
Really
right now.
digging their stuff.
Yeah, Bad Omens is great.
Yeah, just really his voice too, amazing. His
Yeah,
range,
Noah's awesome.
sick.
Yeah,
So yeah, that's kind
Yeah.
of what I've been listening to lately.
sick.
What's that? Elenium puts out some decent
Okay,
things.
I think I've heard of that band. Yeah,
Yeah. So anyway, just
Cool.
for new stuff, that's
Yeah.
it.
cool.
And then crushing the same old like Demon Hunter and Starset and all that. I like those guys too.
Nice, that's awesome.
So, yeah.
Derek says he's been crushing Neck Deep.
I had to do a double take and be like, was that Derek that said that?
That's sick.
He likes neck deep?
Yeah,
That's sick.
Neck Deep's great. Yeah, Devin says Neck Deep. Knucklepuck's awesome. Archspire was just here and I was out of town. I'm sad about that. The fastest band in the world. Those guys rip. It's crazy.
It's insane.
Archspire. Yeah, it's like just ridiculous.
I gotta check that out.
They do like Twister as well.
They do what?
They do like Twister. And they put a Twister mat in the middle of the pit.
Oh,
And
really?
they spin.
That's awesome.
I saw this, the like, what do you even call it? The like advertisement for the stream or for the tour. They played like 2 rounds and they spun. It was like, oh, you landed on the wall of death one. It was like, everyone ready? It's like, ksh, ksh, and they just big wall of death.
Nice.
It's so funny.
That's awesome. And it rolls in Knock Loose new album. Yeah, I would have loved to see Knock Loose on their new tour. Would have been great.
Loathe and Show Me the Body.
Wage War, another band that I kind of
They're good.
digging. Yeah, they've been
Nice.
really
They're good too.
Yeah. There's a lot of good bands popping up, man. Like, wow, crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, you named a few that have definitely been killing it right now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Bad Omens has been crushing.
I
I'd
will
love to
say-
see them live. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
I will say my favorite album that has come out this year is Boundary's newest album.
Oh yeah.
It is unreal. Highly recommend.
Okay, wicked.
Did I see Boundaries live? Didn't they open for
Yeah.
Counterparts?
I know. I didn't go to that show, but I think I got asked. And then Julie was telling me, she was like, "Oh yeah, Boundaries was here with Counterparts." I was like, "Are you serious?"
Yeah, I thought they were at that like Lost the Flames show. Or
Yeah.
was it with
Counterparts, Boundaries, and they were with Monuments.
who was the band that opened?
Like Moths of Flames was.
Who was that band that opened that was really sick that we watched?
Avoid.
Avoid. They were cool.
That was with Counterparts and Devil Wears Prada and Fit for a King.
Right. That was the more recent Counterpart show. Got it. They were really cool. Avoid. Revisiting Protest the Hero. Nice. Straight from the Path, especially the drums. Yeah. Craig's awesome. Yeah, he's a great drummer. Craig's podcast is also great. He's just a super entertaining guy to talk with. Mark says Sublime just released a new song with Brad Nolan vocals and his son Jacob. That's cool. Working on a new album with Jacob. Sweet. Very, very cool. What have you been listening to, Luke? I know what Luke's been listening to. Luke's been listening to Kublai Khan
Yeah,
and Alex
okay.
G.
I will say, Low Tech, newest Kublai Khan song that came out recently. Not actually that recently. Low Tech was really good.
Yeah.
Let me take a peek at what I've been listening to recently.
It's okay. You don't need to do that. We can
Okay.
move on.
Well, Sioux Space Cowboy. Sioux Space Cowboy's been on my radar recently. They're good.
I've heard they're cool, but I've never checked them out because of the name.
Yeah, they're good. Been listening to Hated as well, which is Colton's.
Colton's
Yeah.
band. Yeah, the mix is crazy. It's
They
awesome. Colton from Blasting Room. I don't know if you were on a trip where you met Colton or not, but we've met him a couple times, and Dorian and Derek have seen him a couple times at the Blasting Room as well. And yeah, Colton's a great mix engineer and producer, but also plays in like a deathcore band called Hated. And like it is just like the heaviest, and his mix is just like so over the top insane.
Oh,
like
man.
it's awesome.
That must be awesome.
Love it. Yeah, sweet, cool. Luke, have you heard McGee?
No, but
Like
I saw you post them.
You should check him out. It's really,
I will.
really, it's really, really cool stuff. I don't even know how to describe it, honestly. Just check out his new album, like, and listen to the whole thing. Like the first couple listens, it's kind of weird, but like when you get into it and like watch the live versions after listening to it, and the live versions are like way crazier than the studio versions.
I will check it out.
It's really cool. We got any other questions here? Derek says Colton rules. Colton does rule. Colton, if you're here, you rule. Sometimes he pops in here. If he's not here, I'm going to message him and tell him that he rules. Need a song written by Derek, Luke, and Sam. I'll tell you how that's going to work. I'm going to sit at a computer, and Derek and Luke are going to yell at me to do things until it's done, and then I'm going to leave and never come back.
Hey, I'll play.
There it is. That's how songwriting goes.
That's usually how it goes. Welcome to doing a demo video at the Revv studio any given day that it's happening.
It'll be stupid heavy beatdown with like Creed licks over top. That's what it would be.
Yeah, that's exactly what it means. You're 100% right.
I'll tell you what the Revv demo is going to be. It's going to be this riff.
There it is.
Ready? Sorry, the slide was too techy.
Too advanced.
Great. Too advanced, yeah.
He also
Successfully
commented that you can't handle the blues in A before you start playing the blues in A.
It's rock blues in it. Flux asks if Dan does any of the production in the shop. You can answer that, or I can answer that.
So, if it doesn't work upon fire up, I will be the guy to resolve that.
If it doesn't work, Dan will fix it and give it the
Yeah.
once over before we clear anything that has presented an issue.
Yeah.
Dan will have his eyes on anything that gives us any grief just to make sure it's good to go.
There you go, buddy.
I'm going for a tight, high gain tone. Do you choose favorite active pickup or a PAF style pickup? PAF, 10,000%.
Yeah.
Not an active pickup fan. I don't like active pickups will obviously get you a high gain tone. I personally am a fan of putting multiple smaller gain stages together to get something that's bigger. I wrote the theme song. I can't make fun of it, dude. That wasn't the ending. That was a transition.
There you go.
I forgot the question. Derek distracted me. Go back up.
Yeah, I did too. Oh yeah, that's right.
Pickups. Actually, this lended itself to one of the questions that I actually had as well, which is if Dan had a favorite type of pickup. But yeah, I'm more of a fan of like if you kind of come in hot, there's not a lot, there's nowhere else to really go from there.
Yeah.
And like if you can stack lots of different stages together and fill out different spaces, to me that translates into something heavier. Like the pickups in this guitar are not very high output at all. But like, tell me that doesn't sound insane.
It sounds good.
And like, you know, I'm getting I'm using the tilt boost into the,
Yeah.
but like the clean tone, they're not high output pickups. These are like very low to mid output humbuckers, and even the single coils, like when you do the split sound. Like it gives you so much more to work with if there isn't space being occupied from your source. Like you can build on it in so many different ways and stack it.
Totally.
So to me, you can create a heavier sound with a mid output pickup. And also just gain wise, like it's tighter. It's so tight, there's so much space.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's way more control.
Yeah, totally. Anyways,
Yeah, it's true, Sean. He is.
that's my personal approach. What do you think?
He's a monster player for sure. That's what I think.
Oh,
You-
thanks, Sean. That's very kind of you.
Yeah.
What do you think, pickup wise?
Yeah, definitely. So in the beginning, the generator MK1 had an issue with running active pickups.
Right.
I had designed it to be way too hot, and so we'd plug a really hot active pickup in. They'd just squeal.
And
it was
that's why
almost
you put that
unplayable.
alternate input on it.
Had to like pad it, and so you know if you had an amp like that or a guitar like that, you plug it in, you could at least pad it, right?
Right. With
But
like when people were using like the blackouts or like
Oh yeah.
the
they were
EMGs
so
or any of
hot,
those
man.
ones, yeah, they're
was
crazy
like
hot. I had a set of those and they were
train
just
wreck.
wild.
Yeah, but I personally just like just a regular conventional passive pickup. It's something that's not super like high output either. I mean, I like you would rather have something that's middle of the road,
Yeah,
and then I can add to it. I could throw a boost in front of it
give or take either way.
or after it. Yeah.
Yeah,
And then leaves so much more room to just like play with and work and build
Yeah.
the tone you're looking for instead of just being left with this thing and I got to deal with it.
yeah, of
And
course.
maybe I got to roll down the volume now and like find that sweet spot. But then I don't want to do that, man. I just want to crank her up and be like, it's good. I got everything else in front of me here. I can work with that.
For sure.
So
But here's one. I'm just looking on the side. Would you ever do a tube preamp pedal? A lot of people ask because we like tube amps. Would we ever do that? And I kind of feel like we kind of get what we want out of a pedal more without doing that. But you're the guy who builds it, so I don't know. Like, what's the actual benefit? Is there an actual benefit? I guess it's subjective. Like, why would you put a preamp tube in a pedal versus just doing like a transistor circuit?
for the sound and the feel.
And is it that different?
A tube is very dynamic, and so you won't have a linear response like you would an op amp or a transistor, right? Where they're just like,
Within a pedal, it gives you more of that variable.
it gives you like a padding or like a dynamic response that kind of curves, especially once it reaches a peak,
Yeah.
and it comes back down, so you feel that softness and that maybe that compression. Whereas a transistor and op amp just whatever you put in comes out, and there's no give, right? Like you can't.
It's more like fixed.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so you can create circuits to work within that and obtain that stuff,
Right.
which I think for me is what I would rather do. So don't get me wrong, I love tubes,
Yeah.
but I just can't see the benefit of putting a tube in something I'm going to stomp on.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
going back to what we were talking about,
That's kind of the main point, I guess. Right.
somebody mentioned
Yeah.
durability earlier in the show,
Yeah.
right? And I said, yes, I consider that. Here's me considering it. So
No.
preamp tube and the pedal,
Yeah.
I get people are doing it, and it's working for people, that's great. But for me, I don't want to do it.
Yeah. I
So,
got you.
like with the G3 and the G4 and all that, like I can make a preamp pedal sound more like a tube amp, and for the price, it'll knock your socks off, and then incorporate like the 2 notes and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Right, an
course.
effects loop, and
Yeah.
build like a mini amp, because I get you where you're going with that. It's like a lot of guys are coming out with the mini amps, right? It's pedal board amp
Yeah.
and very powerful. We've been considering it for a long time. We're just late to the party because we've had so much going on.
Yeah.
But the idea was when these guys were released, that a pedal would follow,
Right.
but just not tube. So I personally don't feel good about tube for that reason, because I believe that I can build something good enough to sound like a tube
And feel like it.
and feel like a tube without having to use the tube.
Yep.
And then I'll also put that onus on myself to say, you're not going to release this thing until you do.
Yeah.
So then there's that, right? Where I'm
course.
like, well, it's not there yet. Okay, well, it doesn't get released. Until it sounds like that thing, it doesn't go anywhere.
Of course.
And that's the way I like to roll, right? So that's kind of my thoughts about like the preamp pedals that are
Yeah.
now like an amplifier, right?
They were like hot for a
pedals.
minute, and I feel like like pedal tech has changed so much in the time since I've worked at a music store, even 5 years ago.
Totally.
Like when did I quit Quest? Yeah, it would have been 5 years ago.
Yeah.
17. But when I was like around at the time, like the HT valve pedals were like kind of a thing, and at that point there weren't really a lot of pedals that felt similar to like how the G3 would feel or anything. Like, and now in the past few years, people I think have kind of cracked a code in some sense to getting some of that feel more correct,
Totally.
like less rigid,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But
Less linear.
yeah, linear. That's a better word. Yeah.
So that's kind of what. And believe me, I'm definitely going to do something like that. It's just there's other products in the pipeline right now that need our attention. My attention.
But like, tell me that doesn't sound like an amp. For anyone just going into the clean channel, and like to me,
Yeah.
the G3 still has the most amp-like feel.
Yeah. Totally does.
Yeah. So I would say you achieved in doing that. But.
And I'm not even done with that stuff. Yeah, there's still building blocks there for sure.
Lots to do, for
Yeah.
sure. Derek says, hey, you should know this. Derek says, is there a product that you're interested in designing that people would be surprised to hear that you're interested in?
That is a really good question. You know, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know that there's anything that's earth-shattering from a music standpoint. Nah, I don't know. Probably not. I have to
Anything that you
say-
haven't done yet that you've wanted to? Like, not that it might be super surprising, but just like anything you've wanted to try that you have not yet?
Obviously, like I'll just be honest with my age and like learning DSP or something like that. Like I'm just not going to do that, right? I'd have to go back to school and reinvent myself, and I don't know. I don't see that being a feasible option. Whereas we just
Right.
hire like a DSP engineer to come and just like turn our ideas into an electronic, version of I's and O's, ones and zeros. I don't know. I don't think I've really looked so deep into that to find that thing. Don't get me wrong. You know what? I tell people this all the time. Like, at some point, I want to invent that thing that just doesn't exist yet.
Right. You know,
So-
someday it'll click and it'll just be there.
Absolutely. So if I were to say like an answer to Derek's question, it would be that thing that doesn't exist yet, which would even surprise me that I invented it. Right.
Right.
So
Totally.
like if I had to
sense.
set the bar, that's where I'd set the bar. Like not in the realm of well, there's this thing that already exists and I want to invent that, or come up with a product that's like it.
Yeah.
Like I want to go big. I want to find that thing that doesn't exist yet, and even surprises me when I figure out what it is. Right. So
Yep.
I don't know what that is yet. I've been thinking about it, but not enough to. I don't have that thing yet, so not enough.
We'll get there.
We'll get there. One
We'll
step
get
at a time.
Yeah.
But it's a good question nonetheless.
Joe, how's it going, man? Good to see you here. So a guitar tuner. Yes. Correct.
Right to there.
Thanks.
Okay, thanks, buddy.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
bar set pretty high there.
Guitar tuner. Yeah, we'll figure out a way to make it unique.
Yeah. I don't know about mad scientist there, Sean. I'm just a guy that likes to do what I do. So
Devin says, have you bass guys try to Revv amp as a bass amp? You know what's funny is like I've had a lot of people ask this, and I think kind of this, like when people get scared about using a bass through a guitar amp, it's the cabinet, and that's the thing you should watch is like using a bass through a guitar speaker is probably going to long-term damage the speaker, there's no question. But like a bass, like the G20 can definitely take a bass signal. A bass signal in terms of the instrument signal is not going to damage a guitar head per se.
No.
It's the speaker that is kind of at risk.
Yeah.
And when you have a load box in the amp, you can load a bass cabinet onto it and it will work. So you definitely can try it. I've told a few people to try it and they've loaded bass IRs and had great luck with it. So yeah, there's no harm doing that at all.
Yeah.
I remember at Quest one time when I worked there, we plugged a Dingwall when we first got it into an angle power ball into two 410s, and it sounded crazy.
oh, I bet.
Yeah, it sounded
bet.
great.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, no harm in that at all. It's mostly the speakers I think that you'd want to watch with making sure the frequencies aren't going to blow those up.
Yeah, you gotta be careful with that.
Need
Because like
a-
V30 is only voiced for like 70 dB.
yeah,
On the low end, right?
yeah,
Max?
exactly.
Anything lower, I mean, I don't know how it would respond.
It would blow
It
up.
would probably hurt it a bit.
Scott says he's need a power supply and interest in the Canvas tuner. Canvas Series power supply? Not sure about that. Haven't seen that.
I think they made some power supplies.
Walrus did.
Under the Canvas series.
Cool. That's awesome. I'll have to check that out. The Canvas tuner is great. If it's anything like that, I'm sure it's awesome. Walrus always makes great stuff. So, Chewbacca says he loves running the Dark Glass preamps for the return of the G20 and then the power sections. That's cool. That's a great idea, actually, and that's making great use of the virtual cabinet because the Dark Glass preamp's going to do what you want for bass.
100%.
Yeah, that's a cool rig, man. That's
Yeah.
good. I love seeing stuff like that.
Yeah, me too. That's
100%.
Great.
Derek says Sheldon's awesome. Sheldon is awesome.
Sheldon Dingwall is awesome. Yeah.
Good
Spent
guy.
some time with him at NAM.
Super, super good guy.
Solid guy.
Yeah.
Solid dude.
Every time I've met Sheldon, it's always good hang. So I was like, yeah, oh, say hey to your dad for me.
I'd like to go
Will do.
see him in his factory in Saskatchewan. Actually,
Not far.
that'd be a treat. Yeah, right.
What's
exactly.
8-hour drive to Saskatoon?
Yeah, it'd be worth the trip.
9. It's a bit north. I think it's maybe 9,
Yeah, probably about 9.
depending on. I guess you lose an
not
hour,
bad.
but
Not bad at all.
pickups we talked about. Oh, Derek hung out with Sheldon last night. That's awesome. Nice. ETA on the G50 rack mount. I don't think there is a set time frame. I think we just kind of gauged interest, and there has been interest. So we'll work on getting that going.
Yeah, I'm working
Yeah.
on the enclosure.
Yeah.
It's on the list of things to do. Let's leave it at that.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, it's a work in progress. I would say probably sometime this year, later in the year.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Cool. That's a good question here we had from the group earlier. Do you have an all-time favorite recorded guitar tone? Like if you were to put on a record and be like, this is like the best tone. Derek, I'm curious if you have that, and I feel like it would probably be a Van Halen tone or a GNR tone. I'm trying to think if I have a favorite recorded guitar tone. Okay, people are going to hate me, but I remember in 2010 when Periphery 1 came out,
Okay.
and it was like the beginning of the whole gent thing. The first time I heard Periphery 1 with the Axe FX guitar tone, I was just like, this is so gnarly. Like, it just sounded so cool at the time. As much as it became kind of like a thing, you know, that everyone was trying to copy and became, you know, as soon as everyone got the same Axe FX patches, it became really oversaturated. But like, him and like Ackle from Tesseract doing like that kind of like super, like low tune tight chuggy thing with like the super high pass low clean or high pass clean thing, like that type of sound to me definitely created kind of a new world of tones. So I'd say that honestly, like, I wouldn't say I think it's the best guitar tone of all time, but for me personally, when that album kind of changed how I thought about dialing in tones.
Interesting.
For sure.
Yeah. For me, Killswitch Engage from their first album.
Sam Goody. Oh, Killswitch. Oh, yeah.
I remember
Killswitch. Oh, no, yeah.
I was still playing in a band at the time, and I remember.
Shit.
I lived in Enola, and I was coming home from work one day, and I had Killswitch going, and I just remember thinking, man, that is a solid, thick guitar tone.
The Alive or Just Breathing?
Oh, yeah. Like, just killer. And
Adam D knew it. Actually, you know what? I'll change that. End of Heartache. I remember that's the next album.
End of Heartache
in high school when I heard that, and just totally opposite tone. But just that chugging part, whatever that riff is, I was like, that was sick. So and their live DVD too, man. Their live DVD, the tones are crazy. Yeah.
They're like just monsters.
Yeah.
When it comes to guitar tone, for me, I think it's definitely Killswitch Engage.
Killswitch, Killswitch was the guys.
And I like both singers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I had to choose. I don't know that I could.
I think the production came a long way on the albums with Howard. Like the albums with Howard, like obviously there's new material with Jesse, but like the original album, like when I say original, it's like Alive or Just Breathing versus End of Heartache or Daylight Dies, like the production also advanced massively because Adam D was getting way more dialed. But yeah.
Well, those are just such good albums, though, eh?
Yeah, totally. Man, I listen to it as Daylight Dies probably once a year. I put that album on and listen to it, and it's like this mix still sounds good.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy.
It's just killer.
Yeah. Derek says Nickelback. Yeah, Nickelback guitar tones crush.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Luke says Threadline has some sick tones.
Nice.
Nice. EVH, Eric Johnson. Yeah, Thornley. Adam D knows the chug, Shane says. Yeah, 100%. Zach Wilde. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Sean says he saw Nickelback in 2017. The tones were haunting. Yeah, I've heard that their live mix is just crazy.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah. A bunch of Zach Wilde here, for sure. Pride and Glory, No More Tears.
I haven't heard of that band.
It's going to be my new band.
Yeah.
Man, I'm gonna put on Killswitch when I get in the car and just crank that again because the production on those albums.
Totally, dude. I just want to listen to it right now. So how would you phrase that, Luke? Would your band be called Ass Whoopin' or Looking for Ass?
The whole thing.
Looking for an ass?
The whole thing. Even my name included.
Oh wow, okay.
Whole comment.
That's good. That's good.
I'm trying to figure out a Killswitch riff. I don't remember anymore. Every metalcore band with the root 5th, 9th chord.
Yeah, totally. Pots on servos. Oh man.
Oh, Chewbacca, that's a good shout. Steven Wilson with Porcupine Tree. Really, really great sound.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah, Porcupine Tree actually was a big one back in the day.
Yeah, I remember those guys. For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was my attempting to figure out Killswitch in 2 seconds.
Same here, Poo Ninja.
Yeah, forgotten way more songs than I remember. Same here, dude.
Man, when I was still playing in bands, and I remember we wrote 12, 14, 15 songs, whatever it was. I don't remember any of them.
No. None. I don't remember any of those riffs. I remember one NX Theory riff because it was like the first riff I ever wrote that I just reused, and that was it.
Sucks, eh?
Yeah. I don't know if I'd ever play those anymore, but yeah.
Yeah, even last time when you guys, I think, asked me that question, what are your favorite songs or bands? I was like, I don't even remember them, like their names. Like I know what they are. Like if I hop onto YouTube and I click my like favorite songs that it gives me, right? I'm like, yeah, there it is, Kate. It remembers, right?
Yeah.
So I don't have to remember the names. I'm just
Totally.
like, there, play that.
It's smarter than us these days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a bad thing because it's like trying to remember phone numbers. It's like, well, I'll just put it on my phone, and then you never remember it. It's like, what's on my phone though?
Yeah. Derek says Hardy rips. Hardy had a great live mix too. I mean, Justin's using the 120s, so yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. Nice. If we only wrote music instead of memorizing it. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, you want to write music, you can memorize too. Yeah. Interesting. I saw that one Hardy performance with Nickelback, and Chad sounded pretty good. Luke, you got that notepad there, bud? DragonSense says EQ system to completely isolate high and or mid and or bass frequencies without affecting the other ones. So like a parametric on an amp. That'd be a little tough. I wonder if we'll ever get to a point where like it'll be tube amps but with like DSP programming so you could have a parametric in the preamp.
Yeah, you could totally do that. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like I wonder if we'll get to that point where like you can literally
I guess it depends on like how much a manufacturer wants to add, right? Like at some point you also got to remember there's playing music and then there's like screwing around with the gear.
Joe, you said you went to the Sleep Token show through Drumeo, or you got to go to the Drumeo performance?
He got introduced to Sleep Token through Drumeo.
Oh,
when
cool.
It's 3, right?
Two.
Two. When 2 did his stuff.
Yeah, their drummer is crazy good. Yeah, I would say he's
Next time I'll make sure to have like handlebars or tobacco signs.
Yeah,
just so that
handlebar
I'll just
mustache.
be like, there we go, buddy.
Get her going.
Yeah. Oh, 10 Engine X, yeah. Yeah, they're pretty good.
Is that what that is? 10 Engine X. That's what it means. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's around the Tinnitus era.
Yeah, I played with them a lot.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we shared the stage with those guys a lot of times, even outdoor festivals.
That's sick.
Man, that brings back a lot of memories that you mentioned that.
That's sick.
Damn.
The old Tinnitus days.
Oh, yeah.
Anyone ever see Dan play with Tinnitus? His
Yeah,
old band back in the day?
I
don't know if we ever played together. Maybe Metal Fest one year.
Yeah,
but like,
yeah.
Maybe Manitoba Metal Fest. But the earliest it would have been, like, the Annex Series first show was Manitoba Metal Fest 2009.
Yeah.
So I was in
Yeah.
grade
Yeah, you were young and
10.
guess I might have been too.
Grade 10 or 11, yeah.
I found the old Tinnitus album we wrote or recorded, and that actually sounds pretty good. Like I know there's some shitty YouTube clips.
Do you do it with Ryan?
No, we did it. We did it with a guy. I don't even remember what he was called, but he was like north of the city, heading toward Lockport.
Tobacco Senses Tinnitus plays in my head 24/7.
Sorry to hear that, buddy.
Sorry, bud.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, around.
Bad on many fronts.
Sorry, yeah.
But yeah, we recorded this 12 song album, and I have it. I'll bring it in actually.
Do you have a CD?
It's a CD, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Please.
We gotta. I still have I have
It's a really good recording. It turned out great.
Back in the day, I used to have a laptop that had a CD player, and then I got a new laptop in 2012 that didn't have a CD player, and I was mad about it because that was when they started getting rid of CD players. So I got like a USB disc reader, and I still have it, and I can still rip audio from it onto my computer, which is great. So if you have any CDs you want ripped, I can use my USB disc reader.
Please rip one for me.
It was, like a cottage, but it was the dude's residence, right? Like he had a home, and then he had his shop / studio outside. Yeah, maybe you know him too.
Do you remember what it was
I can't
called?
remember his name though. I don't. It's going back a long time.
Stereo speaker out where you can send EQ left and right differently add up to 10 milliseconds between left and right.
So stereo, yeah.
The Twin Tracker kind of does that.
Twin Tracker's kind of like that. Yeah. You know what? It wasn't John Paul Peters, but it was an older. He was an older guy. He was. I don't know if it. No, it wasn't John Paul Peters. He was an older guy. He was like in his 40s or 50s. I'll figure it out and let you know. It's going back a long time now. But I'll bring the disc in though, so you guys can hear it. Because honestly, the YouTube clips, they're lousy because we're all wasted, right? Like we didn't just go to these things to just play music.
Stereo Trap. I haven't heard that name in a minute. Derek, you didn't play in that band, did you?
Oh, I did Studio 11, yeah.
That's what it was?
Stuff there. No.
Oh,
No, Studio 11 was on Henderson Highway.
yeah. I was just looking at stuff that's still open right now. That's kind of by Lockport, and there's Rockstar Recording and Studio 11. Those are the only two that are still open right now. So.
Brandon Friesen was the guy that owned Studio 11 at the time when I was doing some work there. He eventually moved to LA, became very big, and I think he sold Studio 11 to his partner or something. And it's still there, I think, but man, that's going back a long time.
That's crazy. Derek, I didn't know you managed Stereo Trap. That's cool. Cass from Temple Audio was in Stereo Trap. Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so you were in Saskatoon last night then, eh? That's cool. With him and Sheldon, yeah, you definitely were in Saskatoon last night. I like Saskatoon, even though apparently it's the most violent city in Canada right now.
Is it really?
Apparently, it has the highest violent crime rate per capita right now. Yeah,
Wowzer.
which is weird because I always think of Regina as being way crappier and sketchier, but
I
Saskatoon.
thought Winnipeg was up there still. For
Winnipeg's
sure.
Winnipeg's number 2, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, so we're not very.
But Saskatoon is like a pretty decent percentage. It's like 20% higher or something. Stereotype singer. That's awesome. I didn't know Cass was in that band. That's cool. What else? Yeah, if you guys got any questions, let us know. We're going to hang for a little bit longer here.
Yeah.
We have these demo amps. We've actually been selling through a ton of these, and I think we've only got a handful left, but we got these demo alpha amps still on sale on the website. We got, this is Purple G20. We got this, I was going to say Seafoam. Powder Blue?
Powder Blue.
Powder
Yeah.
Blue. Not
Powder
the Carolina Blue. Powder Blue.
That's nice.
D20. I really like the Powder Blue. I'm surprised that's still
Yeah.
up there, to be honest. That's probably one of my favorite D20s that we've done.
Yeah, I really like that actually. It's
Yeah.
super nice.
Yeah, but a bunch of them sold like today, which is crazy. It was funny. I was looking over the weekend, and then today it seems like a bunch of them went. So there's a few left, and they're you'll see the prices. They're marked down on the website, kind of according to the condition that they're in. But yeah, a few more demo alpha amps. We got pretty much everything here today. If you want to hear anything, we got the 120, got the D40. I've got a couple pedal boards hooked up here with all the pedals. So if you guys got any sounds you want to hear anything while we're here, let us know. I'm playing on the 120, which is this. So I was saying this looks like a revision A, but this is the original revision B circuit that Dan made. Yeah. So this is the one that we settled on before we put them into production. So same circuit as the 10th anniversary or the current revision B120s that we're doing. Except I think this still has the
6P6.
6L6, yeah, 6L6, and then they do come with 34s now, which we decided on for the revision B. And now that I'm playing this, I think I do like how the 34s sound with this amp, like with this revision. But the 6L6s does have like depth, you know.
They got some magic with it on.
I don't think there's really a right or wrong answer, but yeah, the 6L6s definitely do have a little more body.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have something like drop G sharp to go through or drop E?
Yeah, we have the that Aaron Marshall 7-string right there on the left. Yeah.
Old Blue.
Old Faithful?
Oh yeah. The input jack's a little sketchy on that one right now.
Classic.
Oh yeah, it's loose.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's see.
Tighten her up a little bit.
She rips though.
Oh, yeah, that'll be fine. Just go straight in. Yeah.
There you go, Bods.
This isn't standard, so I will put it. Actually, no. Let's tune it.
Like it's in drop
flat.
A right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it in A flat.
Yeah.
Why not?
Also known as G sharp.
The G50 is fun, man. Like, yeah, it's based off the 120 MK3 Revision B, but it's just
But I think that was where we decided to actually try the 34s with the Revision B. Like,
yeah,
it was in existence, and
Yeah.
with the 50, there was a couple things that we were just experimenting with, and we tried that and liked it, and then tried it with the Revision B and also liked it randomly. Dorian was bugging us forever to do it.
totally was.
So I
Yeah.
was like, oh, 34s, man.
He was right.
That's the way.
But yeah, I just love that little G50, man. It's killer.
Yeah.
Well, I like the 122. Don't get
That
me
was what I ended up getting one, dude. I had to. 50 was the way.
wrong. 50. This is the way.
Yeah, it is the way. Anymore. Yeah, it definitely does the thing. I didn't even see that you said that, Devin. That's funny. Yeah, it does the thing. That's the riff. Yeah, just tight.
Yeah, that sounds great.
And the red channel will still do that kind of thing, which before I think it was a little flubbier with, but
Yeah.
the new voicing of it.
That sounds great.
Dig it. Yeah. This thing I need to set up and put some new strings on. The neck feels awesome.
Sounds
It's
pretty
like
good.
it's got the same kind of Wenge neck as the US model, but it's the offshore model.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah, this is Aaron's signature guitar.
I dig it.
Yeah, it's cool. Really dig it. The US one, I think, is, if it hasn't come out, it is soon, and the US one is insanity.
Really?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's like the difference between the US NJ and the offshore NJ. Like the US Aaron model is just silly. Like tried it at that Airbnb party, and it was just like, yeah, one of the nicest seven
Wow.
strings I've ever played for sure.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
KV made a comment of saying he loves his D40.
Nice. Let's play the D40. I have that hooked up. We haven't really touched it tonight.
KV, that's awesome. I'm really glad to hear you're totally loving that D40.
You're
Much
now
more than you expected. That's amazing.
you are now hearing the D40.
There it is.
Was that Keith? KV? Yeah. Glad you're digging it, Keith. That's awesome.
Favorite guitarist.
guitarist?
You know, I don't know that I have one anymore, to be honest. Obviously, we went back to the 90s, I'd have plenty.
Who's your favorite guitarist from then?
I was a big Nirvana freak then,
Nice.
and then I got into Soundgarden and Alice in Chains, so I was
Grunge
kinda
guy.
digging those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was grunge guy.
All good choices, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think it was probably Cobain that got me started into guitar in the first place.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I got into like more heavier stuff and more mainstream stuff.
Luke says Alice in Chains. Jerry Cantrell.
Yeah, Jerry Cantrell's good. Good guitar player.
100%.
But I don't know that I've like settled on just, you know, having a favorite guitar player. I enjoy many different guys. Like I was saying earlier, like the Kill Switch and Gage guitar tone is probably one that I can remember as being like one of the most impactful ones for me.
It's funny you bring that up because, like, 100%. That was the first guitar tone I heard where I was like, this is just massive, but, like, clear still, you know?
Oh, it's just so good.
Yeah.
Like it just drove, man. You know,
Yeah.
like you just felt it when you're listening.
Totally.
To it.
Saw them live a few times, too, and it was, like, just as good.
Wow, it's incredible.
Yeah, for sure.
But still, I don't know that I'd consider them to be my favorite guitarists, right? It was, I don't know.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Brent says Hendrix.
I mean, Hendrix, well, he was magic fingers for sure. I mean, I guess it depends on what kind of tone you're going for there, Chewbacca. For example, if it's like a D, if it's a Dynamis head, and you want a warmer tone, I would say like JJ's. Like if we're talking affordable tubes, not going like real expensive stuff like gold lines or something. Then I'd probably say like, yeah, if you want a warmer tone, go JJ's. If you want something brighter, then like the Tube Amp Doctor stuff's really good. They're trying to emulate like Shu Guang's from like the early 2000s and stuff like that, and they're pretty close, if not like bang on. So I'd probably say something like that. If you're going like generator and high gain, but again, right, same kind of thing applies. If you want a warmer high gain tone, JJ's. For me, I really dug the Shu Guang stuff, the ECC. Well, the 12AX7B actually is what it is. And so when the Shu Guang factory went down, we lost all that, but the tone of those tubes was really good. But I got a sample at NAMM from Tube Amp Doctor. I haven't tried it yet, to be honest, and that was a long time ago. I should probably do that. I told them I would. But they said it's emulated off the 12AX7B, and so they might even be in production now. But they're a brighter tube. They have more top-end bite and even like an upper mid-range bite. It was really good. It was actually the tube I preferred for that, like, that articulation I was talking about.
Yeah,
MK1s.
totally.
So, like, if you have an MK3, like, revision B, like, I would throw in the the 12AX7Bs from Tube Amp Doctor, like the Shu Guang variant. And, like, it's just really, really good. Just a really raw, aggressive sound. Man, I really dug those. But then, I do like the JJ ECC83 S, right? Like, it's a warm sound.
Yeah.
Still has really good bottom end and still some top end bite, but it's warmer, right? So
Yeah, not as much of that
yeah.
mid-range thing going on, for sure. Scott, this Anderson is not a baritone. It is a 25.25, whatever the standard is, 25.75, 25.25. Yep, standard scale. It is in, oh no, I checked the spec sheet, Luke. I don't know if it's like stock.
I just didn't want to get up.
Okay. No, well, no, I
can get up, though.
I'm not asking you to do that. I'm just saying I don't know for sure what it is. I might have got it a bit different, but you don't have to check. It's okay.
So
25 and something. We'll leave it at that. Okay. It's in. If you want to go look, it's in my office on the side there. But no, just baritone strung up with 11 to 52s in E flat. Robbie, what's up, dude? How's it going? Good to see you.
Hey there, Robbie. I wonder if it makes sense bring the screen down just a little bit.
Yeah.
And the reason I say that is because it looks like we're looking off at the La La Land.
Oh yeah, the TV. Yeah, bring it down so we're looking at the camera instead.
Yeah.
Put it right behind. Yeah, it's funny.
I will do that with another person.
See you there, Poo Ninja. Thanks for coming down, buddy. It's good to
25
see
and
ya.
25 and a half. I was in between.
You have a great week too, man.
Thanks, Luke.
Yep.
I just have to put this back in the case now.
I can do that as well.
5-way, 3 equals M, so middle, with neck plus bridge. Oh. So how does it split the neck then if it's a single coil pickup? I don't understand. how do you do that?
You gotta contact manufacturer. That's how you do that.
What's happening, Marcus?
Be like, hey, it's going on. It's like, how should I think about this?
Telling people to smash the like button. Yeah, we've done that a couple times. You can do it again. We're getting there. If you guys got any more questions or any tones you want to hear, let us know. Now is the time for requests.
Yeah. We were, yeah, now is the time for requests. I don't know that I want to drop the Midi information.
Huh?
I don't know that I want to talk about Midi information.
we were maybe going to talk about some Midi stuff, but I feel like that's honestly a whole thing. Because like, it seems, what kind of inspired that is like, it does seem like people are getting it. Derek talked about this last week. It seems like people are building cool big amp rigs again with like lots of cabs and like Midi switching with pedals and amps and everything. And like the amount of inquiries, like I see all the service inquiries, and it seems like in the past like 6 months, I've gotten way more about those types of rigs than I have like ever working here.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you guys think that'd be cool, I think since it seems like there's kind of been an influx of those types of rigs again, it would be fun to like, this could coincide with our pedal board build video too, because like Derek and I are going to build these new boards with the G3s, and there's just like so much with the Eventide or the Strymon or any of those pedals that you can make it do, because those are all MIDI programmable, right? Mm-hmm. So I think we could do a whole thing on it.
Oh
like,
yeah.
It's such a robust topic.
Oh, it's massive. Because a lot of people don't understand MIDI, so
Yeah.
like the intricacies of what you're actually trying to accomplish and how an amp will accept data or how a unit will put it out, for example.
Yeah.
You know, like a CC command versus a PC command, and
Yeah.
yeah, there's a lot to it.
What all that stuff does.
Yeah.
Someone had asked to hear a Les Paul through this tone, and Derek actually got that new Les Paul that I'm going to christen on the stream for him.
There it is.
This is also a 91. And I will let you know off the top that it is as good as the other 91s. This volume pedal's not doing the thing anymore. Oh, that's because I'm not on that board. I'm dumb. My fault. Yeah, every single 91 that we've been able to try out and find has been equally as sick. This one is heavy. I feel like this one is definitely the heaviest. And maybe it has to do with maybe it has to do with this bridge, because this has like some fine tuners on it. Which, unless you have locking tuners on here for a Gibson, I don't really know what the point of this is anyway, because it's still going to go out of tune with the headstock. But
Also, thank you, TJ, for just speaking absolute facts.
what?
It says needs a pick guard.
It nah. TJ.
Oh. Hey, wait, what did you say before the stream to
I
me
did
again?
say that if any of Derek's Les Pauls looked better with the pick guard, it would be this one.
Okay, so before we move to that, there's been a number of comments about MIDI there, so we did strike a chord, I think.
We did.
Pun intended. So, okay, guys, so any of you guys that we're planning to do some like informational content, like instructional stuff, how to use this, how to do that, with a lot of our stuff in the future. So if you want that kind of stuff, like let us know like what it would be, right? So MIDI is one of those things where I think, like Sam said, it's becoming more popular. People are trying to go down that road and have more automation in their rigs. So if you're interested in that, let us know, because I think one of the next few videos that we're going to consider doing when it comes to informational is like explaining MIDI, how to use it, how our amps respond, kind of give you guys an idea. Like,
Yeah, of all the different stuff you can do, because there's so many layers of it with all the different features.
it's massive. Like trying to get these devices to communicate with each other, like first starts with like, okay, well, what's actually being sent, right? Like when I step on the thing or I send a PC command, like what does that mean? What's actually being sent? So I I guess I'll be the one to go through something like that, make a video, just sort of, okay, like here's how this works. This is what's being sent. What's a CC? What's a PC? What's Omni mode? All that kind of stuff, right? How to use it, how to separate, different devices per channel, and how to send data and all that stuff. So maybe a good thing to consider would be like, think about the things like I've seen somebody say it intimidates you. What is it? What intimidates you about it? Like maybe we should start something in like the Facebook group, or if you guys want to post something in the Facebook group, like let's talk about what it is you guys don't know, what you'd like to know.
For me personally, I think it's when you start getting like multiple devices involved that are running on different channels, so that when you're sending commands, it's like to specific devices within that chain, and setting the different channels with like, let's say you have your Eventide and your Timeline and your Big Sky and your Amp and your G3, all of which are sending and receiving different messages, and it's like, how do you set the channels for those things properly and get all those to talk while simultaneously sending your Amp the information you need to, and all that type of stuff. Like to me, when there's more pieces, as opposed to just running your Amp on Omni mode and everything gets hit at one time, like boom, you're cool. Yeah. But like when you're running on multiple MIDI channels with different devices, that to me is where it gets like a little wonky.
Okay.
So I'd be curious about that.
Well, you know what?
That would be fun.
I should probably have a whiteboard to explain that then. Honestly, to say, okay,
dude,
here's how this goes.
That Charlie Day meme where he's just like going crazy? That would be it.
Yeah. Because I mean, I think to properly explain something like that, I'd need to be like, look at this diagram, right? Like here's, because I'm like,
let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it. We just gotta hook up a laptop with HDMI where we can draw stuff and just draw the diagrams.
Totally. Yeah.
Oh, this guitar sounds good, dude. Needs to be tuned a little bit, but yeah, all these 91s have sounded awesome. I think that was the problem right there.
Okay,
yeah, sounds killer.
Does sound good.
Yeah, sounds killer. I'm like holding it to not do that.
Yeah, totally.
Because it's a Les Paul. But I will say, if there's one that could use a pickguard, it would be this one.
That's the one, eh?
Yep.
Okay.
I think this one could use a pickguard. If there was one. If. Do we know where the pickguard is? Does he put them in the cases? Or does he just throw them in the garbage because he doesn't want to pass it on to the next owner?
Probably not. He probably throws it away.
Doesn't want to do a disservice.
It was there.
How do you like that one versus the Cherry Burst? I think I like the Cherry Burst a bit more because it's a little more balanced weight-wise. And that's the thing, like the neck on that guitar overall to me, Derek, feels like a bit chubbier.
What, this one?
He says, come on with the pickguard. I said if, Derek. I'm not saying it needs it. I said if there was one that had to get it, it would be that one. I'm not saying yes. Yeah, that one is bulkier for sure, and it sounds great. It's not quite as playable as the Cherry Burst one, so I think I like the playability of the Cherry Burst one, but I like that one has the fine tuners, and I like how that one sounds because it's quite a bit bigger.
Sure.
Yeah. It is beefier for sure. The neck is beefier, and the body, maybe it's just because the neck feels like it, but or the weight that the fine tuners are adding to the bridge as well. Yeah, because it does feel heavier, and it sounds heavier. It sounds great, but the other one plays better. This has escalated so quickly. It was like, could use a pickguard. Now Sean's like, it needs a damn pickguard. We've escalated quickly.
Yeah.
Beefcake. PRS or a McCarty if money were no object. I'd get a McCarty.
Yeah, that's the PRS more expensive line, isn't it?
It's like their single cut. like their high-end single cut. Derek says Les Paul.
It's not custom shop, right?
Actually, you know what? Maybe I would want a Les Paul. If I could have my other guitars still. If I had to have one of those two and no other guitars, McCarty.
Yeah.
If I could have my current guitars, Les Paul. That's my answer.
I mean, Robbie's got a point there. Money were an object. Well, why not both?
Does that make sense, Derek? If I had to use one guitar, only that guitar between a McCarty or... I know we have McCartys here. We do. Yeah, we do, Luke. Anyways, if that was the only guitar, McCarty. If I had my other current guitars, Les Paul. Luke says he doesn't think we have McCartys. Okay, well, we'll find out.
We have SC.
Oh, Sean says we do too.
No.
I trust Sean more than you.
You do as a question.
Yeah, no,
He's
I
like,
know.
you do?
No, I know. I trust him more than you, though.
But he doesn't think yet.
Oh, Derek, okay.
Maybe that was supposed to be a question mark when you said.
Oh, single cuts.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
was gonna say.
for sure. Yeah, McCarty's might be different. Sorry, he was correcting my terminology. I understand now. Got it. Yeah, I was wrong in the way I said it. Yeah, anyways, my answer still remains the same. I think there are double cut McCartys too. Yeah, you're right, Derek. I'm not like a huge PRS buff in terms of the models and stuff. No, Derek, you were correcting me. It's all good. I was wrong, not you. It's pretty good typing considering you're driving.
Yeah.
I guess you're driving from Saskatchewan, so
Yeah.
it's one road. Robbie, don't bother saying I was on the road. It's not going to matter. Yeah, he's watching South Park as we're doing this, too. Cool.
Dodging all the elk on the highway.
Yeah, all the Saskatchewan elk.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. Cool. What else do we got on that little thingy there, Luke? What's that white and blue amp on the floor? Where? Oh,
Probably
this
to
little
your
thing.
left.
This little thing here that Derek bought.
They have single cuts for sakes.
Whoa!
He's here.
Oh, it's a
He
guest
made it!
appearance, everybody.
He's here.
We have a guest appearance.
He's not driving. He's here. Hello.
Yeah.
Did you just drive home, or were you driving from your house? Did you flew
He
here?
flew here.
I drove from the airport.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say I didn't think you were
Speeding
driving
or
from
what?
Saskatchewan.
You put a sign in your office.
I took this. No, I took my sign back from Dorian's office because he didn't use it ever. Dorian's office is my old office. He didn't turn that sign on once, so I took it back.
Strip club.
I know. It's great. It's my original sign that I took back. Well, Derek's here, so there you go. Oh, there was one question I asked. People ask biasing hot versus cold. What does that mean, and what is the risk of doing that?
Okay, so you obviously don't want to bias too hot because your tubes will burn out faster, right?
So does that mean you're setting the bias like higher than the rate? Like if it was at 85, you're setting it to like 100 or something?
Yeah, exactly that. So what's happening is there's current flowing through your tube.
Yep.
The bias voltage you apply at the grid just controls that.
Right.
So what we're reading when we plug in the multimeter in the back of our amps is how much current is passing through.
Got you.
So the higher that number, the more current.
More,
passing
it's literally the more it's receiving. That's all that
and
means.
you're wearing out your tube faster because all that current is flowing through it, right?
Gotcha.
On the flip side of that, and so you get a great tone. Don't get me wrong, like a
You're
really
pushing
hot
them
bias,
more.
You're pushing them more, so you get more power to a certain degree. You get more frequencies that you might not with a cold bias, and so you have benefit. But
Yeah.
you're going to eat tubes, right?
Right.
And then if you go any hotter, you might actually burn them out to the point where they malfunction.
Yeah.
But if you run them too cold, you get less amplification. You lose out on like response
It's
to a
like
certain degree.
stiffer.
It's stiffer.
Yeah.
Actually, it's funny because I can't remember who it was, but there was an amp that came back, and there was a guy that was like, "Something wrong with my amp. Check it out, please." And it wasn't warranty or anything. And so the first thing I did was check the bias, and it was off.
Yeah.
Like there was no current flowing through this damn tube, right?
that he had installed them and just wasn't aware of that.
And he didn't know.
And it was funny because like you go back and it's like we obviously asked that, but at the same time, this is new tech sometimes, or just tech that has like a lot of stuff, a lot of little points you got to touch on. So it's not totally uncommon for that to happen.
It's
where,
not. No,
where
I
it's
get
like
it.
the amp just isn't performing well because the tubes aren't doing what they're supposed to physically.
Totally.
You know.
Yeah, because they can't amplify. There's no current coming through them, right?
Yeah.
And if there is, it's like so little that you're not even getting the right sound.
Gotcha.
Like, so
Cool.
it might sound like it's amplifying, but it just sounds like trash, right? So you want to make sure that where we tell you to set the bias point, we tell you that value because A, it protects your tubes and gives them longevity, and B, it's the right amount of amplification, so you get a good sound.
Exactly. Yeah.
Any colder, any hotter, well, you risk the chance of it, either hurting your tube or not getting the performance you're desiring. So,
Gotcha.
so there's that.
Cool. Charles says, I always have to have my tubes biased cooler to help compensate for the thermal changes once the tubes start heating up. My tubes amps run much better. Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, you want to at least let your tubes run for 5 to 10 minutes before you actually set your bias, because they do have to expand. Remember, it is a mechanical device, right? So you've got electricity running through all these grids, and the glass, all of that's going to heat up. There's metal inside, it's going to heat up, and then it's going to start conducting differently. So what I normally do is if I've got a 50 millivolt bias point, I'll put it at like 47, 48 when I fire it up. I'll let it sit 5-10 minutes, check it again. Oh, you know what? It probably bumped up 4 or 5 millivolts.
Right.
I'll put it back into range, and then you're usually good. You don't want to just turn it on, bias it, and leave it. It won't vary a lot, but
Yeah.
So, Dan,
hello.
do you like biasing amps hot or cold? Like, I have some customers that ask about, like, hey, can you bias it hotter? Because there's a range, obviously, of what we can do
Yeah.
for power tubes.
Yes.
And
without like breaking stuff.
yeah, and I find a lot of guys think that when they bias it hotter, that they're going to get more gain by biasing hotter. And
Or more headroom.
You
Yeah.
can within a range, because like I think tubes will have like probably a 15 to 20 millivolt range that they're like not going to completely explode at, and you can push them within that, but like more than that, it's like no dice.
Yeah, like there is a limit. So in my opinion, I edge for longevity and performance, and where, like I said earlier, the value we give in our manuals is that, right? It's longevity and performance.
Yeah.
If you go any hotter, yeah, you'll probably get a benefit depending on the tube, but chances are you won't. So my advice to anybody would be like, go on Google, and this is probably harder because you might not know the DC voltage in the amplifier. But if you do, like go find a calculator online, type in the voltage the amp is running. They'll have like a percentage, 60, 70%, and it'll tell you like what that bias setting should be. But honestly, I just wouldn't mess with our ratings in the manual, just stick there.
what's the danger in biasing hot or biasing cold?
If you bias too hot, like let's say you're up, if we tell you 50%, or sorry, 50 millivolts, and you're like 75, 80%, your tubes are going to wear out really fast. And the trouble with that too is if they expand really quickly because there's so much more current running through them, there's also a possibility for a short internally, which could just destroy it faster than you'd even anticipate. But ultimately, most tubes are pretty durable. It's just if you set them too high, they're just going to wear out. So if you're expected, 5,000 hours on a tube, well, now you might only get 3. So again, performance to longevity ratio is kind of why we tell you to bias to what we do in the manuals.
Yeah.
But you can experiment with it. Like, you know what? If it's 50, throw it up 55, 60. See what it does for the tone, right?
If it's like 75, bias it up at like 120, 130, then go to revamps.com and click on the tubes section to buy your new set of tubes for your amp.
Exactly, because you're going to need
In
those.
stock in 6 months.
Yeah. So with bias, yeah, it's not a tone control. Let's just put it that way. So, you know what? Just set it where we tell you. Just leave her be.
Nice. Sweet. If you guys got any other questions for Dan or myself or Derek or Luke, let us know and we can answer them for you. Otherwise, it's been a pleasure having you here. Thanks for coming and joining us again.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's always nice to pick
No,
your brain
it's-
and learn some new stuff.
It's always nice to come say hello and hang with you guys and just.
And yeah, I think as Derek and I are working on the board builds and getting the gig rig thing integrated, it would be really cool to just do a MIDI centric thing where I was talking to Derek, I was talking to Dan and saying like the one thing that I'm kind of still piecing together with MIDI is like when you're running multiple pedals and devices and everything that are on different channels and you know, switching between the banks on the Strymon to the Eventide while also switching and sending info to the amp and all that type of stuff. So yeah, I'd really like to kind of dive in onto a lot of that as we go.
Yeah.
Because that's something, yeah, that's been coming up a lot more, and I'm looking forward to making my rig work easier. It'll be a lot of work to get it to that point, but
sure.
I'm looking forward to hitting one button and having it change a bunch of stuff.
MIDI is very powerful once you understand it. You can really do a lot. Most devices have MIDI capabilities now, so.
Yeah. Dave asked, what's your favorite breakfast food? That's the important stuff.
Steak and eggs. Steak and or eggs. Yeah.
Yeah, any meat and eggs, 100%.
Yeah. Well, I did the carnivore diet for a while there,
Yeah.
and so it consisted of meat with eggs, right?
Yeah.
And I really took a liking to steak and eggs, man.
It's the best.
So, yeah, it's the way to start your day. And I'll be honest with you, if I have that in the morning, I don't have to eat until dinner.
No, I know. That's your thing. It's like even
Yeah.
if it's more in the morning, like you don't eat during the day. I kind of have become the opposite of that. I really don't eat much of a breakfast anymore just because of my schedule. But like, I feel like if I had time in the morning, took the extra half hour to make that and go, I wouldn't have to take a lunch break.
Yeah,
You know?
it's handy.
There you go.
It's one less thing to have to worry about.
Joe says the Morningstar device has great documentation with all that. So yeah, we'll have to check that out too as we go.
Yeah, ultimately, we just want to create documents and instructional videos that just can help you guys out. And, you know, MIDI can be simple when you understand how it's working. So if we can sort of paint that
That picture.
picture for you guys, and
For
we're off
sure.
to the rodeo.
Cool. Well, thanks, Dan. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. This was a lot of fun.
Sure.
Derek and I will be here next week. Otherwise, come back anytime, man. This is great. Love having you here. It'd be great to have you back. You know, even if we did once a month, we could kind of just have like a getting book learned episode, in the words of the great Ricky LaFleur. Okay, cool. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you tuning in.
See you guys.
Let's
Thanks for
tune in on all this
showing up
stuff.
today.
Oh no, these pedals I don't know how to make to do the same thing. Derek.
Well, you got that one there, remember?
Oh, the swarm, yeah.
Yeah. There it is. There we go.
That's a good one. Still going. And now it's done. No, it's not done. Keep it going.